Hey everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we are going to be talking Season 4, Episode 2, The Lion and the Rose, aka The Purple Wedding. And joining me today actually happens to be majority of the crew from Cylon Johns and Jules. So, whoever unmutes first gets to introduce themselves.
Randy, how is it going tonight?
It's going fine. Hi guys, I'm Clarissa Thompson. You may know me from the Cylon Johns.
Oh, no, I guess John wants me to go ahead.
John St. Baptiste here. Thank you for having me on here tonight, Kenzie. It's one of my favorite episodes. It was a bit of a surprise to be here, but it's a happy surprise, which as you get older, those things don't happen very often. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure. I am so happy to be here. You know what's up, everyone. Hashtag too sexy in the chat. I'm muting before I'm ready to even start talking. But this is an exciting episode. I have the strangler right here and ready. One of these crystals was used in the episode. I'm going to stutter over myself. How is everyone doing tonight? Clingity clang, clingity clang. Yeah, thanks, Sasa. Thanks, Clarissa. John, everyone on this panel is a Cylon, so watch out.
Yeah, you better watch out. And yes, this episode
So we all.
What do we say to the Cylon gods? So say we all.
So say we all.
But today we're going to talk about this crazy episode. It's the end of a character from Season 1, Episode 1, Joffrey. But before we get there, we're going to talk about all the other scenes in this episode. So we're going to start off with Ramsay, Miranda, Reek, and the Hounds chasing after and killing Tansy, who was the girl that was in the scene with Theon before he got his favorite toy taken away. And we see Theon really becoming Reek here. What do we think about this? Her first scene of this episode.
Yeah, that's what I think. She should have ran a little faster. I'm just going to throw out Tansy. Little shout out to Tanzel, maybe. In this episode, she did get eaten by dogs, though, and poetic justice for what happens later on in the season. Clarissa, take it away.
Who, me? Oh.
No pressure, Randy.
No. Don't worry, man. I can take it. Yeah, the brutal, terrible scene where they're basically telling her to run, and if you get out of the woods alive, you win. Oh my God, this is such an excellent extension, showing Ramsay's viciousness and how fiercely loyal and suited to him Miranda is. Because those two chasing that girl down is just maniacal. It just illustrates so well to the viewer how horrible they are.
True Westerosi love.
Point. Oh, well, I mean, if you can call it that.
Yeah, I think you can. A little bit of foreplay. She was jealous, you know.
Let's get it on. But anyway, yeah, no, that would have been extra sick if they'd got it on right there, right after the dogs tore her up. That would have been bad news.
Yeah.
Is it worse than Jaime and Cersei?
No.
That's next episode. It's worse.
Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different. In a way, though. Miranda and Ramsay, for all we know, they're not related. So and they're not twins, so it's a little less weird.
Yeah.
But
She's
yeah.
quite a bit younger than him, though, isn't she?
Yeah, I think so because
Because he
I
was
think
something like 12 when he noticed her, and she was 7 or something.
yeah, because I think Ramsey's supposed to be more closer to Theon's age because I remember Theon's slightly older than like Rob and John, if I remember correctly. So, but yeah, this scene's just kind of like, ooh, sweet justice for Tansy in 609, actually. But yeah, John, what do
Well,
you
I was
think?
just going to say, if I remember correctly, I think, at least in the book, in this scene, he's 21 and she's 17, which
Okay, yeah. So 4, not 5
is
years.
like creepy, but it's like kind of semi acceptable in a lot of.
Emma, that's the closest age gap I've seen in a long time in Westeros.
Yeah,
Usually it's
well,
like 8 to 12.
Tyrion's. I mean, Tyrion never consummated his marriage, but Tyrion's what, 30, 35?
Something
And
like
Sansa's
that.
13?
I think so. Because I think it's mentioned in like season 5 or something that Cersei's 40 in terms of the show verse. So I don't know. But yeah, yeah. But Reek in this situation, I guess Theon, where he has to like watch this happen. He's like, I know that I've done bad things, but I've never done this bad of a thing. It must be like chipping away at his soul slightly. But like after this, we see because we skip to King's Landing, but we come back and we see Roose and Walda return to the Dreadfort, and they have pleasantries with Ramsay and Locke. And there's the famous shaving scene of this season, and we learn about Rob, or Theon learns about Rob. Theon gives information about Bran and Rickon, and they make plans for later on in this season slash series right here. So
All I know is that Roose Bolton's eyes popped out like dollar signs when we saw Walda come in. She's a walking bag of silver, basically. And everything that goes on with Reek, you kind of see many dynamics there with Roose caring about Ramsay, but not necessarily. He's willing to take risks since he's not his true-born heir. Also, Theon here learning about Rob and just accepting his role as Reek. But I will let someone else talk for a second and chime in with my long rant in just a second.
I guess I'll go. This whole series of scenes for me, like this is when I really one as a reader, and I started off as a reader as opposed to a watcher. You hate Theon at first, like in the Clash of Kings, you hate Theon, and by the end of Storm of Swords, and definitely by uh, Dance with Dragons, like you feel for him. You're rooting for Theon. This is what makes GRM such a great writer. And these scenes, like the dehumanization of him, it honestly, there's a part of me that thinks like Ramsay Bolton is introduced to make you feel compassion for Theon, because you're like, yeah, you betrayed your family, which yes, he was a hostage. He was very well treated hostage, but he was a hostage, and you betrayed these people, which yeah was like a total dick move, but there's at least a conception behind this, and then you're introduced to the, the bastard Snow, and you're just like, yeah, Theon's really not that bad. Like he doesn't hunt people. And by the way, going back to that, uh, I think that scene is totally foreplay. Like that's what makes that scene so disturbing for me, is because hunting another human being is essentially their foreplay. Like that's what bothered me so much watching it and reading it.
Uh, yeah, I kind of agree with you there, but I do feel like Theon, hashtag they deserved it, new series with Alicia Kingston, be coming out soon. I think Theon reaped what he sowed. He's actually one of the few people we see that have had to pay for their actions, along with Jamie, along with even John. Later on, if you go with the show and the books, he's had to pay for his actions, even if they weren't evil intentions. And that's something you don't get to see a lot of. A lot of evil runs rampant. Eventually, it comes around. But yeah, Ramsey. Fuck, man, I don't even know how to begin to describe him.
Complex.
You want to go ahead? Go ahead.
It's like a complex psychopath kind of character. Yeah, the scene is kind of well done in terms of how A, it's shot, but B, the dialogue that's involved with this, because it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're not a Bolton, you're a Snow, and all this stuff, and trying to like put Ramsey under like certain limitations of like how he's supposed to act. And it's like, well, take Moat Kalen for me and I'll see what I can do, pretty much. And that's like a thing of like, haha, let's see if I can do that now. So now they want to have Winterfell, which they own, technically. So they'll have Winterfell, Moat Kalen, and the Dreadfort under Bolton banners. Holy moly. That's like what? Not minor house, but like a minor house. Get 3 pretty big locations in the north in like 5 minutes, which will be kind of interesting to watch because it plays out. But my like only real thought on this is like, what if Theon actually slit Ramsay's throat or just cut him like on the cheek or something? What would Theon have been died in like 2 seconds afterwards?
Oh yeah, Clarissa.
Oh, she might have
If you
stepped in.
don't, it's okay for a second. If she did,
Can I ask
I
a question of the other people on the panel?
Yeah,
and this is a serious question. It isn't a joke question. Would you rather have Tywin or Roose for your dad?
First off, I would say to answer Kenzie's question, I believe he would have absolutely been killed. That was kind of a test for Theon. Ramsay had faith in his pet and his manipulative skills. That's his ego going right there. But also, shit, that man is a good manipulative person, not good in general. But to the other question, I would say Tywin. Because he will protect you. He may not love you, but he's going to protect you. Roose, as we've seen, is almost willing to sacrifice you. Now, if you're Tyrion, that's a different story. But, I would say Tywin. If I'm a regular, by Westerosi standards, like a normal child, in the eyes of Tywin. I guess. I don't know. That's a tough freaking question. Whatever. Y'all go for it. Get me in this loophole.
Sorry.
I feel like Theon probably would have died after that. I'm answering my own question. He probably most likely would have died, like right after he had just even done a simple like cut on the cheek or slit his throat. So that would have been a weird end to that character. Just been like, huh? But to answer the Tywin versus Roose question, yeah, probably Tywin, because he's all about the family, and even if like you're Tyrion, he still actually cares about you. Because later on down in the season, when it's Tyrion's trial, he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna have Sir Ilyn behead you. You'll just go to the wall instead." Like, he's convicted of murder of Joffrey, and yet he's like, "No, I'm not gonna kill you. I'll just send you away instead of murder," which is if you gotta deal with one, you have Tywin. Plus, most powerful man in Westeros.
But only because Jamie would have left the Kingsguard to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
I asked, speaking, because we're on the Fat Walda and Bruce Bolton topic, I asked everybody in the chat, I was like, Fat Walda's value in silver, hashtag worth it? Question mark. And Fake Arya says, absolutely worth it. Roose didn't appreciate that fine, voluptuous woman. And Sasuke says, I think my girl Fat Walda was totally worth it without the silver. So what do you think? Is she actually worth the silver on her own?
Honestly, more cushion for the pushing, honey.
Her
Absolutely.
without the extra dowry.
And, well, I mean, even so, when you're too pretty, you don't think about having to please other people.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder as well.
I know. I'm just saying the people that are used to being able to get things with the way they look don't have a habit of trying very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And generally don't tip well.
Also, too, she's not, like, out of all of the Frey daughters and granddaughters that we've seen, she's up there in, like, terms of, like, how, like, in terms of, like, comparing, like, her with Rosalind, like, they have the really good genes of the Freys because, you know, they're stereotypically known as not the most attractive house.
It doesn't look like a ferret, that's for sure.
Yeah, or like Richard, or what's it? Not Richard Bradley. Yeah, David Bradley is her father.
This conversation makes me think of it. I had a job back in my 20s and I worked with this gal and she says to me, she goes, you know, Clarissa, you have such a pretty face. Have you ever thought of trying Ultra Slim Fast?
Damn. Damn.
Know, right?
Hashtag damn.
Right? And so, like, every time I see somebody like Walda, especially when I'm thinking of that actress, I'm like, you go, girl. Work it.
Yeah, everybody thinks that, like, she seems nice, enough, or as Ben says, damn straight, all that cushion for the push, and plus the money wins all. Yeah, because she had the most value in terms of a dowry. So hey, why not? But she meets a tragic end later, so.
She's nice. She's a decent human being, which is very rare among Freys. You know, if that's not the type of physical thing you're into, you know, close your eyes and think of England. And that's a lot of silver. So yeah.
Her weight in silver, yeah, because it was mentioned. Was it mentioned? I think it was mentioned in Reigns. He says, "Yeah, I get to marry whichever one I pick and have their dowry as well." So it's like, yeah, why don't you pick the one who has who's A, attractive, but B, also has the biggest dowry? It's like both of those together. But anyways, we're talking about Fat Walda, which is only mentioned.
By the way, Kenzie, I just have to apologize for derailing your question earlier. I apologize.
It's fine.
It was the daddy issues.
No, you're not allowed to do that. No. Yeah, but the next, so that's the end of the.
Sorry, this comments.
We got a good chat going on here.
Fat Walda, PHAT Walda hashtag.
Pretty hot and tasty Walda.
Yeah, baby.
I was just reading Catherine saying in high school there was a girl who said that her mom told her to marry rich and close her eyes.
Sansa, can you eat some more lemon cakes? Would you like more? Come on, Sansa.
Oh no.
That's what Peter's waiting for. Oh, Sansa.
I think, Catherine, your friend, her mom gave your friend great advice.
Yeah.
Marry rich and close your eyes. Like, if you're going to be involved with somebody, which I don't advocate at all, like, yeah, that's a great way to go. Marry rich and close your eyes.
No, I don't know about that. The most important thing is to be able to be best friends with a person and then think about a relationship if you really want it to work.
No, I'm
You
best
got to,
friends with you. If I were gonna marry somebody, it'd
yeah,
be for money.
dude, whatever, bro. I will
Hashtag
marry
whatever,
you, but you
bro.
get no sex. No sex, bro. I'm holding out like forever.
Exactly. That's why I'm gonna marry somebody with money.
Hashtag.
Let's Chuck and Larry the shit, man.
You go, John.
Hashtag whatever, bro. Fake Arya said Frey daughters. Number 1, Roslyn. Number 2, Fat Walda. Number 3, those twins.
Oh dear.
Or Ben's like hashtag PHT Walda. No, it's more like THICC Walda. Thick Walda. There you go.
Julianne said no means no, right, Johnny? And that's on my house sigil now, which is my avatar. If you can't see it yet, it should be changed. But Julianne89 made that for me, and she is awesome. Makes Johnny's stuff. Makes John's thumbnails. She is just fantastic. She is an honorary Cylon Jill. She will be on the panel at some point. Hashtag peer pressure. Anyways, we'll keep this going. Sorry to derail it. Let's go.
No, it's okay. So, the next bit of scenes that we can talk about is either Bran, which is like very short, or we can start with the first half of King's Landing. Where do we want to go? Do we want to go north or south?
North, I think.
North? Okay. So,
north.
Summer goes for, or Summer, quote unquote, goes for a walk. Hashtag Hodor. And the crew discuss Bran's like changing into Summer, and pretty much if he stays in Summer too long, then he'll forget everybody he knows. And before it becomes the Raven, and then the three-eyed Raven speaks to him. But also, what was that? It said, no one in the no one's into Blackwater with the Frey. Oh, that's Lothar Frey, right? The one with the hat.
Hashtag condom hat.
Oh my god. Oh man. No.
Hashtag helmet head.
I never thought about it, but yes, that hat totally looks like a rubber.
Way. So Bran, Summer, Hodor, Osha, Mira, Jojen, Three-Eyed Raven prophecies. Go.
We're just trying to get this back on track, and I guess let me help do this.
Because I started it and then it just died.
We get to see Summer and Bran Warging having his wolf dreams, not knowing exactly what he did yet. He wakes up having the taste of blood in his mouth. He's talking to Joe. You can't keep eating, man. That's not you eating. That's Summer eating, bro. You stay too long in there, bro, you'll never come back. So he gets warned about that a couple of times, so I fear that that's going to happen to him trying to save the realm later. Maybe he gets stuck in that old weirwood net. Go ahead.
I've always had a question about that scene in that after Jojen speaks to him, then why am I gapping out on names right now? This is terrible. His sister.
Mira,
thank you. What the heck? With Mira saying, like, giving him guidance, and we haven't seen her have any warging abilities or anything. So the question is, is there a bunch of lore that they have passed down in their family? Like, I know that they don't go into it as much in the show as much as they do into the books and stuff on the Reed family, or where they're from, because they're all very mysterious and stuff where they're from. And nobody's really.
Oh, yeah. So the Krennic men, they're little. Supposedly, they're interbred with the Children of the Forest is one of the main thoughts. And yeah, green dreams seem to be in their family. It's rare, but it seems to happen more often in the Reeds and anyone from the General Neck area that's a Krennic man.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm mistaken, John, please correct me.
Is that how Mira kind of has that insight as to what the warging does to him?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they're brought up with the stories, just like she kind of tells the story of the night of the laughing tree and all that. Oh, your father never. Yes, her father told her all kind. They were told all kinds of stories, and I'm sure it was passed down to them.
Because I
They're very
remember
mysterious.
thinking that at the time because they hadn't shown Mira to have any extraordinary powers on the show at all. And it wasn't
Yeah.
until, I'd gotten into the history and lore and I'd watched all of those and it all kind of sort of added up to me in sort of in my own mind as to, oh, they must learn this stuff because their family's so mysterious and they're so connected to the old ways and things. But it was kind of one of those questions that always kind of hung there because I'm not very far in the books. So
Yeah, it's more of like their knowledge more or less is more book stuff. Like they don't really show it like outwardly, like explain it. So yeah. And
yeah,
They remember
they
the
cover it
North
a
more
bit.
than the North, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, and they only cover it
And
a bit in the history and lore. So
Yeah. John, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I think Mira is more of a latent green seer, maybe even possibly
like the other
like
Starks.
that's not established, but I think she just latently has an intuition in both the show and the books. Like she's not like Jojen. Like Jojen's creepy. Like I mean, think about Baron Bran. You're like this little kid, and like this other little kid comes along, and he's like, "I know what you're thinking. I know what you're doing. I know your future. I know your past. I know your family's past." Like that kid's creepy. Mira's like, I might know most of these things, but I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Well, he also smells really heavily of patchouli oil, which we did not know was in Westeros until he came up at that point. And Bran has to kind of stay away a little bit until he gets curious about the three-eyed raven. That's
Oh no,
just
I
a
totally
joke.
saw Jojen in the Dead Show.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh man,
I
you
definitely saw
can't.
Jojen in the Dead Show.
I'm super allergic to patchouli, man. Now I can never go hang out with him.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
you can't do that, man. You can't stay in the wolf, man, because you will be stuck there forever, bro. Like, just chill
You,
out, man. Let me grind up a couple of my toes, and you
you
can
know what,
refuel,
man?
my friend.
You know what, man? Just, I'm just gonna go hang out with the tree over there now. Okay.
We're gonna go touch up a tree and kill it.
Touch up a tree.
A weirwood tree. Hashtag touching up weirwood trees. But yeah, it's like because in this, Bran says he knows where he has to go, which is when he goes and touches a tree. He has the voice of the first three-eyed raven tell him to go north, but sees flashes of other stuff. Like Cersei saying he saw us and all of these other things, and goes north, and he's like, I know where to go. Like north is just a general direction. You don't know exactly where the tree is. It's like unless he told you exactly the direct coordinates for the tree, sure, but yeah.
Well, I mean, they just go due north toward the dragon's asshole. I think that's the constellation they're going towards. And that's canon, by the way. Don't even look it up. They're going straight north. I think mainly the thing is to keep going north. Their path will lead to him. They'll kind of be forced there, and he already sees that. Plot armor. I'm just giving you some. But that's probably why we just got the north thing. And he saw the tree too, You can see that tree probably from 500 miles away. So, yeah, he just had Hodor climb a tree, and then they knew where to go. I'm such an asshole.
Yeah. John, what do you think
Good
about
night, Luke?
John, you're muted, and what do you think about the whole north situation?
I'm going to be a bigger asshole and just say you can't see anything from more than 11.2 miles away. Because the curvature of the Earth. Because the Earth is round. Sorry, flat earthers, if there are any flat earthers in the chat. I apologize to you guys.
I've seen a map, dude. It's flat. It lays flat on a fucking table. I don't know what you're talking about.
Back of a turtle, right?
Hashtag flat Westeros, because we don't know if Westeros is on like a
Flat Earth.
It's
even
confirmed
playing field.
Earth though now by Germ. So
Planetos, not Earth.
no, it's confirmed Earth by Germ.
No,
So I don't know what to make
it
of
was
that. I have to
friggin'
go back.
called
I'm
Planetos.
telling you, it is confirmed. He hates the word planetos. I have to just throw that out there now that
It's
people have been screaming at me about it.
I have to agree. I did read that
No,
particular.
I know, but like it's been like people call it Planetos for so long. I just wanted to change it. It's like what? But anyway, I'm ready.
It was something the fans made up, and Germ just
Flatterers.
let it stay there forever. Yeah, flat rose.
Flat
Oh, that's
rose.
fine. Fight.
Bye,
Catherine Harding says, "Fight, fight, fight." I
It's
did
turned
that the
into
other
a
week.
fun stream that I don't even know if we're talking about the show anymore, but it's fun.
a little bit, but sprinkled in. Hey, it's a dramatic episode. We can sprinkle in some levity.
A little,
Yeah.
Yes, levity is good at times. Thank you.
But so they have that scene, and that's all from Bran this episode.
If I may bring up a
Yes.
serious note,
Yes.
and Johnny always makes fun of me when I say something, and at least in my culture, it's a traditional thing. You say touch wood. I think in some other cultures it's knock on wood or whatever. But that actually, like, there was something about that when Jojen touches the weirwood tree. Like he's almost asking, like, please protect me. He. And you think about Jojen and his character, like they don't go into it as much in the show as they do in the book, but he knows when, how, and where he's going to die. Like that's probably why he's such a creepy kid.
I got that in the scene where they're
It's a lot like
captured and they're in
John.
Craster's keep, and the whole like the fire thing. I was just like, oh, he knows something. It's almost like that's a moment where he sees his death, right? Even though it's later. Isn't that in that scene?
I think it's later this season because we don't see this crew for season 5. So
Right.
later this
Right.
season.
The whole season, there's like none of them.
Because I think they moved Bran's character too quick compared to the other one. So that's why they had him
We
away
did
for
get
so
all
long.
the flashes from
Yeah.
Bran.
Yeah. This was in that scene
as well.
Also, Christian Nairn was on tour that year because he's a DJ.
Oh yeah, yeah. Johnny, do you want to talk about those flashes if you wrote them down?
Sure, he sees the swarm of crows, whites, human, and horses. The fall that paralyzed him. The three-eyed raven taking flight in a corridor, I think, and then later lands on a tree. And then Bran sees his father sharpening ice. Then sees him in the black shells, and then being led to his execution. Then the Red Keep abandoned and covered in snow. And the shadow of a dragon flying over King's Landing. So, go with that. And then he sees the weirwood and all that stuff on that barren mountain.
And the raven, ah!
Mm-hmm. So we've seen majority of those scenes besides, really, the throne covered in snow or ash, depending on how you look at it, and then that specific dragon shot over King's Landing. I don't think we've ever seen that one, or did we in season 7?
No.
No.
I looked for it.
So, pet theories abound with those. It's like you could say that scene with the throne was reused from 210 when it's Dany's visions, but what if it's not?
Well, we're going to talk about this in a later podcast because a new thing on Sansa came out, and Sophie Turner talked about wearing armor in season 8. I think John's gonna get kidnapped, and King's Landing's gonna have to be stormed, and Sansa's gonna have to take control of maybe the Army of the Vale and some other army. We could have a split in factions here too with this. So me and Kenzie will be talking about that on the podcast, either probably on her channel, but we'll see what we'll do with that. So stay tuned. That's some big news there that we can dissect.
And
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I won't stay tuned, but I'll watch it in about 6 months. I'm gonna binge watch all your spoilery stuff in like 6 months.
Yeah, that's why I'm not like getting into detail on it right now.
Yeah.
That's why I love you, Johnny.
Any more thoughts on these fine folk north of the wall before we go back to the other end of Westeros or for this episode?
No, he knows where he has to go. He's turning into creepy Google man.
Google Earth. All right, so the first scene that we have in King's Landing is Tyrion and Jaime share a meal. And Tyrion says that the dwarf, the cripple, and the mother of madness make up the Lannister children, more or less. And that Tyrion sets up Jaime with Bronn to teach him how to use his left hand, which is his non-sword hand. And Jaime and Bronn have practice. And there's a reason why they're in such a secluded area. Anyway, so when the Lannister siblings again discuss.
Well, I think it gives, so much of a reflection of Jaime's character. He still has that pride, and also like from a pragmatic standpoint, you don't want people to know you can't do your job anymore. Like Jaime's only job, his identity, his singular identity is being a warrior. And if he can't do that, like I can understand that. Like as a person who has gone through something which totally messes something up, that you can't do what you identify to yourself with. Like I can totally understand that. Jaime Lannister, after I had my accident, was a character who I really identified with because, like, it's you have this thing that you've always had, and now you don't have it, and not only have you always had it, it's always been a part of your identity, and so I can totally get that, and Tyrion knows that innately. And he's like, okay, you need to have this identity still, because that's the only thing that keeps you alive is like that and our sister's vagina. I can say vagina, right? I didn't say the bad word.
You can say nether lips, like in Fire and Blood. I just want to say, I don't know, add slightly to that. I feel you on this, John. Well, you kind of know my story. I won't get into it. I'm not going to tell everyone. But at 24, I was a budding athlete and lost everything physically. And I had to reevaluate my situation. It took years before I could cope with it.
Oh, Cylon.
Oh, you Cylon, Johnny, and this is like the worst moment for you to Cylon.
Yeah, you just Cylon. You said years, and then it just, it's like we cope with it for years.
Oh yeah, I said I couldn't cope with it for years. If you can.
It's going again.
Hold on.
The internet doesn't want Johnny to tell a story. So, as Johnny fixes the internet. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I turned down the bandwidth. Hopefully this works.
The internet does not want Johnny's internet does not want him to tell the story, apparently.
The story's not
Internet,
over yet,
shut up. This is a good story. Internet, let him tell it.
right?
Anyways, my nether lips got
It's not happening. You may have...
All I think I heard was nether lips got chapped. What?
Yeah. Hashtag nether lips. Chaps nether
Avatar.
lips. Go.
Can you hear me on Avatar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, my nether lips got.
Oh my god, this is awful.
So fucking frustrating.
It is frustrating.
Yeah. But no,
Well-
Johnny, please go on because
If you
what
can.
say is very poignant.
For many years, it took me a long time to cope with this robotic situation. I had to deal with knowing I was a host from Westworld, and it was tough. But no, I was an athlete. I lost everything. Now I'm finally figuring out how to use my mind. I wasted it, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Jamie deserved it. Hashtag they deserved it. I still feel for him. Fucking robot. Stop laughing at me. Oh my
You're
god,
so
my
cute.
fucking internet sucks.
Oh my god.
It's-
Oh,
It
how was that?
sucks.
Did you hear any of it?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Oh, okay. I'm just sitting here ranting like I'm an idiot.
But no, yeah, it's like yeah,
That's
completely.
why I was laughing, because I'm like, he totally thinks we can't hear him anymore.
It's like it's completely like thing. But yeah,
I'm a Westworld robot.
I'm a
Yeah,
Westworld
we heard
robot and a Cylon.
Yeah.
Is this conflicting for you?
Yes.
Identity crisis.
I don't know about Westworld robots, but Cylons are pretty badass.
True. Okay. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
Like
there's
Johnny and I were talking about when we set up our bunker, when the shit goes down, we're gonna have Centurions all over this place. It's gonna be awesome.
You know, Johnny, you know what we should do once I finish? Because who knows when we finish Cylon Johns, if Westworld is still like a live and kicking it thing. It's like what, or for what I know about Battlestar Galactica, it's like Battlestar Galactica versus the the
Sorry.
hosts, the Cylons versus the host stream. We could do that. Where it's like John fights on the side of Cylons, and like
Oh, yeah.
someone we know fights on the side of Cylons, and then someone else, and like a cat fight, Cylons versus hosts edition.
Yes.
Which
And
See,
also,
yes. But yeah. See, we're coming up with ideas all the time. But this Jamie and Tyrion scene is really, I guess, poignant because this is the first scene that they have back together as brothers, if I remember correctly. Yes. So it's really awesome to have them share a meal, and everybody now has pork sausages for their meal, like after the last episode, which was
Boar sausages.
you're all going to eat pork sausages in honor of Theon Greyjoy, whom we heard tales far and wide. They took dick prints and showed everyone.
Yeah.
Hashtag dick print.
hashtag Dick Brent, hashtag pork sausage for all.
I'm glad I don't have to do that when I clock into work. Like it's bad enough putting my fingerprint on something. That would be so much work.
Like, okay, and then it's like unzip.
Oh,
Anyway,
dear.
we're derailing.
Yeah.
Any-
So yeah. So
Hey, blame this one on Johnny. not on
Jamie
me.
and Braun.
Yeah, so Jamie and Braun, the one-on-one scene that they have together. What do you
To
think?
me, this is one of the most brilliant Braun scenes. One of my favorite Braun scenes in the whole series. When they start sparring, Jamie's like, "If I had my right hand," and he goes, "Planning on growing it back." I howled. It's one of my favorite lines in the whole series. it's such a great example of the kind of person that Braun is. He's completely irreverent, does not care what anybody's status is.
Yellow balls.
So, and was I the only buddy? Hey, buddy, am I the only
Hey there,
buddy
guy.
out there? You guy? Hey, bye. Hey, bye. Am I the only one who thought the irony of the fact that Braun was banging the wife of a guy named Laygood who has thunderbolts on his shield? The irony. You'd think she'd be perfectly happy with the name like Laygood and lightning bolts. Like, that's a good sign. She's like, God, the wedding night, she's like, boy, did he ever fool me.
The Westeros' biggest catfish ever, right? What did you
Boy,
want
was
to
I misled.
say? Johnny, what did you want to before we lose?
No, I completely agree. Before you lose me, I think you're just trying to kick me off this damn
No.
thing. But this was just a great moment from Braun being able to teach Lord Twatface or whatever he calls Jamie at this point. He has all these funny names for all of the lordlings. He doesn't give two shits. The people that think he's a Rain, at least in the show, they're not going that route because he would have a little more knowledge of houses. And unless he's acting really good, and I just don't see that. I just think he is a proper sellsword that knows what he's doing. I do believe his origins in the book will be of note, but I don't think he's of the Rains. I think that's a red herring, but I do think he'll be somewhere surprising. Maybe a descendant of House Valerian would be pretty cool.
We know he's been north of the wall.
Yeah.
From the drinking game at the camp, at the war camp.
He does fight like a wildling, Peter. I'll give you that. He could have picked up stuff everywhere he went, though. He does seem a very malleable fighter that kind of learns on the fly and adapts to the situation. He's like the Bruce Lee of Westeros, honestly.
Although we may never get this scene, what if there's a scene a meet that we never got to see, and it's Tormund and Bronn, like as a scene of how he was beyond the wall, and Tormund like
going like you.
And Brown's like,
I never knew that would be a thing.
Hey, you bear fucker.
Like, hey, like a scene that we like a meeting of people that we always wanted, but we assumed that there would never be any backstory, but that'd be a funny thing that we could.
Oh, that'd be the best. Like if Braun was like, no, the story's true. He really fracked a bear. like
I was there.
I watched it. That's why I went south of the wall. Is because I watched this happen and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so disturbing.
I'm done. And it's like I'm tapped out, and then just like walked away. But yeah, that'd be I just thought about that. I was like, what if that actually happens? Although it probably won't happen, but who knows?
We can ship it. We can totally
There's probably fan fiction out there, or there will be after today. Sasuke though says this is where I pork his wife. She's a screamer. If they can't hear us, then they won't hear us now. So Braun's saying that he's very good in bed, and that that lady is his screamer. So what if Braun has illegitimate children somewhere?
It's likely.
No, I know, but like, imagine that shows up somewhere. It's like Papa, like they were like, be like, what?
He seems to stick with horse.
This is what happened when the bear got fucked.
For me, the biggest thing about the scene was actually when going on like from beyond the initial thing when Braun's like, oh, this is where I shagged this girl and all this is when Jamie's like, "Oh, you strike a man when he drops his sword."
When
Yeah,
he's
that's the
down.
best time to
Best time
strike
to
a
strike a
man.
man.
Yeah.
Like, duh. I think this is a really changing point for Jamie because I think this is when he realizes like I I can't live up to these ideals. I think this leads into the monologue that he gives like 2 seasons later. Or I think it's two. You know, I have all these things I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to protect the king, or maybe it was earlier. I'm sorry. I'm getting my timelines mixed up.
No, but he has
But like,
values of chivalry basically, and
right,
he's
and
realizing.
bro, like that's not going to save your ass.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not going to save your ass. And if your ass is supposed to save somebody else's ass, well, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You can't fight in a real battle like you're on a turkey field.
No. Like
Especially when you only have one hand.
Like Oberyn Martell says in the last episode, a long sword is not good in close quarters. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you win or you die.
You win or you die.
Words of Game of Thrones.
Don't start a fight, but always finish it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Dumbest thing you can do is take a sword to a knife fight.
Yeah, or what is it? To a gun? Something to a gunfight?
Don't take a knife to a
gunfight. But I think even worse is taking a sword to a knife fight.
Yeah.
What about a dart gun?
Pew!
A
That's way too
tranquilizer?
much time. That's way too much work.
Good thing I've got this spear gun because I was going dolphin hunting.
Yeah, what about mini harpoon,
Oh.
chainsaw, hatchet?
I'd take a hatchet to a sword fight. Yeah. I'd go hatchet against sword. I think the hatchet would win.
Ooh, hatchet versus Warhammer. Okay, but anyway.
Peter Griffin also says a gun to a drone fight, or a drone war. A gun to a drone fight, a drone war. Anyway, but yeah, so Bronn is now teaching Jamie how to fight with his left hand. So let's see how good this happens.
So is this when Tyrion's... Oh no, Tyrion sees Varys on his way to the breakfast.
Yeah, that's the next scene that we can talk.
Right.
Breakfast club.
Hashtag breakfast. Hashtag breakfast brunch. Brunch club.
No, just breakfast club. I think really does it.
Yeah, true. And
Westerosi breakfast club.
Westerosi breakfast club.
Varys is like,
Anyway.
People are like, is that your kid in the background?
Yeah. Tyrion and Varys they're walking to the royal breakfast, and they discuss pretty much how if Varys ever gets in trouble with lying, then he is done. Dunzos after with either Tywin or Cersei. And they also talk about how Shay is still in the city, and that what will happen to her if she's found with Tyrion. And then the royal brunch. So there's cups, Shay, secret meetings, stories, swords, and more. And then Joffrey names his sword Widow's Wail. So
Widow's Wail. What were the other suggestions on the floor for that?
Wolfsbane, Heart Eater.
Heart Eater, that was what I remember.
Something else. And then something else. Dark something, I think. Dark
Stormbringer.
Stormbringer. There you go.
Yeah, like if you were a real badass like Joffrey, you wouldn't name your sword Widow's Wail. You'd name it like Bob.
Bob.
Yeah. Like if you were a real badass and you had to give your sword a name, you'd be like, "This is Bob." Bob's gonna kill you now.
For all you brown coats out there, Vera.
You know, but like widow's wail. That's just saying like, oh, I need to.
So then this begs the question: which is better, Oathkeeper or Widow's Wail?
Oathkeeper, definitely. Widow's
Totally.
wail, really?
I'm just joking. I know it's Oathkeeper. I'm just.
We said it begged the question. I was
Facetious. I'm being facetious. It's like which one's better, and then you obviously lean towards the one that's. Yeah.
The honorable one.
I think Bob is even better though.
Bob.
Like this
So
is
then,
my sport,
so
Bob.
then what's better, Oathkeeper or Bob?
That's the name of our local bridge here where I live.
Oathkeeper?
It's
Your bridge is named Oathkeeper?
No, it's named Bob.
Oh yeah,
It's the Big Orange Bridge, or Bob as it's locally known.
the Bob, right? Bob the Bridge instead of Bob.
Yeah, we have a big orange bridge. B-O-B, Bob. We call it Bob.
Catherine Harding says this sword causes women to become widows and cry. Winner. I was just say hashtag winning, but that's
Need
Charlie.
to take some sword lessons.
Must be Catherine's friend's mom that said to marry rich and close her eyes.
Yeah.
I need one of those.
Says okay, the wailing of women was before Blackwater, I believe, in terms of where that's placed. I can't stand the wailing of women.
Oh yeah, I can't stand the wailing of women.
Yeah. So, what did you want to say, Johnny?
Oh, I thought that was that when Tyrion slapped him.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
It's episode 1.
Yeah.
For Pete's sake, I
Episode
can't.
2.
It's episode 2. Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
Season 1, episode 2. Yeah, that's the King's Road. No,
I'll give you 4 cents each for those vanilla wafers.
Oh my god, we just watched that.
Medieval Land, Sometime World. If you haven't, if you're here and you have not watched that, go watch it.
Yes.
By lip reading.
Medieval Funtime Land.
Yeah.
Bobby B.
Bobby B. And what is Denise?
Jimmy Whispers.
Denise.
I really like it.
I was so good. But best over drinks.
Farrah.
Yeah, she gets trashed and unrolls her socks.
And then
I'm just trying to look out for you, Petey. Okay.
This sounds like a thing right now.
And, who hides dumb tube socks?
Old Viking dudes. I'm addicted. I love that.
It's a beer
so
and a
funny.
bunch of powdered donuts. It's power for your powdered sugar. Or
Okay.
We're terrible together, you guys.
John's sitting over there. I think he pulled half of his mustache out.
No, I just have no idea what any of you are talking about.
John,
Oh, I
how
gotta
have you
send you
not-
that, man. You've
We
not
have to
seen.
send him the link. Send
Oh
him.
How have
my
you
God.
not seen Medieval Fun Timeline?
You're gonna love it.
No.
Dubbed over video of Game of Thrones. Like,
And it's not even them.
it's an amusement park. Like, dude, you got us. It's
so
like a
good.
Renaissance
It's so
fair.
good. Damn it! Don't ever call it a Renaissance fair,
Fair,
Petey,
Petey.
okay?
And then there's like those weird, really bad jokes where it's like the jousting tourney and it's like
So bad. Oh, my junk is numb. Okay,
yes,
we
I
have
have
to stop
to check this out.
spoiling
Yes.
it. There's not going to be any jokes left on it
I
for
know,
them to
exactly.
see.
Oh, so you'll be like a regular like preview for a movie.
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
dubbed with
Like,
the first season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have to watch any Marvel movies. Like I can see the movie when I watch the commercial that I didn't want to see in the
But
first
yeah,
place.
bad lip reading, medieval fun time land.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, so the brunch where the brunch and we learn about Cersei pointing out that Boucher is to Tywin and the stories that Tyrion gives at Joffrey's wedding present and all that. I'm surprised Marjorie wasn't there. Her father was there, but
She's there.
where was like she wasn't on screen though.
She's on the
Like-
other side. It goes Marjorie, her father, Joffrey, Tywin, Cersei. Yeah. She's on the other side of her dad, and he's between her dad and Lady Olenna.
Because I thought it goes Sansa, Tyrion, and then you see Mace's face, Mace Tyrell's face, and then there's Joffrey, and then Tywin, and then Cersei, and then so on and so forth after that. So I don't remember seeing Marjorie in that part. But I could be wrong.
Maybe it's like our culture where you're not supposed to see the bride before the wedding.
Maybe.
Maybe, but it's like her dad's at the head of the table with on like you would think that Mace would be beside like Sansa or something, but not Joffrey. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Now
Yeah,
debating
I'm looking.
logistics of the table before they get married. I don't know. But John, what did you think about what was it? The stories of the Baelor the Blessed, Aegon the Unworthy, and the two other ones. Like when Tyrion gave him that book. Should Dan
You're
read
right. You're right. Marjorie is not there. She must be getting her hair did.
that? Yeah, the brunt.
She's doing the pre-wedding hair did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get it all fixed up.
A lot of curls. But
I love
anyways, go
the
ahead.
interaction. I love more than anything watching Olenna Tyrell put Mace like in the dirt.
Mhm.
It's just hilarious to me. I you know from Cylon Johns, like I really like that. Anything that disputes what are considered traditional gender roles and so forth, and the fact, yeah, Mace Tyrell, like he runs the family and he runs the, but no, he really doesn't.
Mhm.
And I love watching her like pretty much just like shut him down.
No, but that's after. You have to what Joff
Okay.
It's
I'm
the
sorry.
it's
We're
the
talking
book.
about the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
My apologies.
The book that Tyrion gives him. Joffrey, it's
Yeah,
like Baelor and all that, Baelor the Blessed. And then he just rips it up. It's like as a book lover, where
Of
you're like
all people, yeah, of all things, that scene, when I read it in the book, I like cringed. Let alone when I like saw it on the show. Yeah. I've got my sword. No, the pen is mightier in the long run because that pen's gonna write about what you are.
Also, I can stab you in the carotid artery with a pen.
Yeah. Carotid artery. Put
Don't
this one
make
down
me
here,
stab
Johnny.
you. Don't make me. Oh, I don't remember, but it's a good one. Inside the thigh. Then you got anywhere in the liver area. Ooh, just bad to get shot up in there.
Do you know what's gonna happen to you if you stab me in the liver? You're gonna get drunk.
It's possible.
It's just gonna flow gin. There's slow gin, and then there's
Jojen.
Joe. Oh
This has been so
no!
fun. I wish my fucking internet would let my pretty face be on the camera. Hashtag too sexy. Say hashtag bring
So do we,
sexy
pretty
back.
boy.
Bring sexy back. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry I skipped the scene. Probably it was like PTSD watching that book get torn up.
Got shredded to pieces.
It's like you numb person.
Yeah, you numb skull.
I'm doing my best, Kenzie. I'm doing my best to keep my mouth clean on your channel.
It's okay. Yeah,
but like you watch that and it's like, this is like an archetypal text, and you're sitting here using it to stick your sword into, like if you didn't hate Joffrey enough, like now you can hate him even more. It was almost like layered on a little too thick. I liked it, but do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Johnny, what did you think about the Breakfast Club / book beatdown that happens?
Breakfast Club beatdown. I thought it was
Book
funny.
beatdown. Breakfast
I
Club book
mean,
beatdown.
this is just the whole world that Lord Oath, Mace Tyrell, lives in fear of his mother all the time. I mean, can you imagine this man's childhood, how strict it was? The fact that, he's as sharp as a bowling ball, I do believe. I don't know. It's hilarious. I wish, it still makes me wish Left and Right were here. God, I wish Left and Right from the books were here.
I know. Left and Right. And then there's the other one, the one that Santa's supposed to marry. Willis Tyrell?
Yeah. He's hawking. He likes to go hawking in High Garden.
Yeah. And then the last bit of this scene after Joffrey names Whittlesvale is Shay and Tyrion argue and she storms off. That's all I had for that one really stupid scene where he's like, I can't be in a relationship with you anymore. Bye.
Fucking A. I mean, it really does kill me. How does Shay... It's like she completely forgets her position. She is Shay, the funny hooker. She's said this many a times. Yes, Tyrion's a little firm with her, but she can't be that stupid and naive to think that he told her from the beginning that she couldn't be with him physically, like literally. And especially in the books, she's in a complete different part of town, I think on the Street of Silk. And I don't know, it's everything from her getting mad about him holding Sansa's hand, all that. I know she thinks Varys, like Tyrion sent Varys, but still, I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's better if
I
you
don't
didn't
know.
agree with me.
I see how Shay forgets her place. And people do when they let their emotions get a hold of them. I mean, for one thing, I will say she's in the wrong profession if she gets that emotionally attached that easily. But I mean, is it hard to believe that Tyrion is the kind of man that would make a woman fall in love with him when she's not generally the kind of person to fall in love with anyone? Like, is it really that hard to believe that he's that good a guy? Like, because he is. I mean, he really is. He's good to her.
Yeah.
And if you have a lifetime where people have not been good to you, you don't let that go easily.
Yeah.
And I totally think she's hurt. I think that how she acts afterwards is deplorable, but I think she's genuinely completely in love with him. I'm not one for all that. Oh, she was a pawn of Tywin's since she was at the camp. I don't think so. I don't believe that theory.
John, what do you feel about Shay, the funny whore? And you're muted, just so you know.
Okay, so two things. One, I don't adhere to the she was Tywin's cat's paw from the beginning. I do think that though she likes nice things, and that's why she cared about Tyrion more than anything. She liked her nice little flat that he got her. She liked her dresses. She liked her jewels. She liked her gems. I mean, the first thing she asks him when he says, "Well, I can get you a spot in the castle, but you won't be living." Oh, can I bring my gems? Can I bring my dresses? Can I bring like? No, I think she jumps at whatever circumstance is most available, and also, I hope you don't get mad at me for saying this on your channel, Kenzie. Charlie Sheen said, "You don't pay hookers for sex; you pay them to leave."
Yeah, I
No,
mean, you built that up like that was gonna be some awful comment,
yeah.
and then like,
No,
I
it's your
didn't just-
profession. This is HBO. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like
And it's not like prostitution's illegal there.
this is
It's
Westeros.
perfectly legal.
This is Westeros we're talking about. Yeah. Shade.
I will say though, like she's been promised and given an opportunity to go back to Essos, to a house and a wardrobe and jewels and servants and all that, and that's not what she wants. So I mean, yes, there's the appeal to that of being
Mhm.
with Tyrion, but that's not her only motivator, obviously. If she's so hurt, even though she knows that she's got a luxurious life away from all the ridiculousness bull that she's having to deal with in the Red Keep, like that. The King's Landing has Tyrion in it and all those things, and she would
Tywin
rather
later.
be there than have all those things without him. So
And Tywin.
You
Yeah.
know, she's not
Tywin.
discriminatory. As long as it's any lion, that's all she cares about.
Hey, Charles Dance is not unhot.
Hashtag Tywin sideburns, mutton chops. Didn't get them in the show. Hashtag mutton chops.
Yeah. Hashtag. But yeah, the Shay scene just really just ugh. I'm like, now that we're in season 4, I'm like, can we just get to the children episode where she dies, please? God, almost at this point, because it's like it's so annoying, and I think Ben will agree with me because he's like, hate Shay.
Oh yeah, no, she turns out to be a real
SOB or
cow.
like Ben just said, hell, Cersei turned, but used the turn used that like she used her profession to climb the ladder pretty well in one fashion or another.
Well, she
Yeah.
told Sansa about the weapon between her legs. It's the most powerful weapon a woman has in that world. And they all bring it up here in the chat. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Shay was more in love with the smells of King's Landing than anything else. Ha!
Hashtag
No,
Shay
but
Stadium.
This was her pretty woman moment, right? And she thought that, he was going to turn out to be her, Richard Gere. And he wasn't. He couldn't be.
No, Clarissa, I have to correct you there. Not a Richard Gere, her Peter Cetera.
What? Yes, Ben. Hashtag Shay Stadium. And the other comment that you directed towards Julianne.
Clarissa, you got the joke, right?
Yeah, but Peter Cetera did it all for the glory of love. Okay?
Catherine Harding says, hasn't everyone had sex with their ex's dad when they broke up? I mean, it's totally normal.
Right?
Right? Totally. Like, come on. And then the dog so says gerbils. Gerbil.
Richard Gere gerbils, yeah.
Hashtag weird
apocryphal
things.
story.
What?
Well, tubes, gerbils.
Johnny, you can tell it.
Sometimes they'll use a condom. It's good for cleaning out your colon. It's a different method for a colonoscopy. How about that? I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
You can figure out the rest on your own. There have been a few stories, if you look at, where people have been hospitalized and had to have surgery because of living gerbil still in that honey.
Heiny.
Also, just watch Jackass and see
The
Ryan
fact-
Dunn put a
Oh my god, those
Put-
guys.
put a Hot Wheels up his ass.
Just,
The fact
oh,
that you just
man.
said Heiny though is like kind of funny. Of all
You
the
you like that?
Thanks, Grandpa.
anyway,
Well, back in my day, we had orange groves as far as the eye could see.
You see,
and yeah, so the Shay thing is now ended, I guess.
Attila has said, okay, moving on.
moving
Oh, shit.
on.
Oh, and then we can interlude the whole wedding scene with Selise's siblings being murdered, burned alive on the beaches of Dragonstone for the Red God. And then yeah, and she enjoys it a lot. And then they're sitting having dinner, and they talk about storybook soup, seagulls, Shireen, starvation, and much more.
And the Lord of Light finding the Lady Melisandre.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, John, why don't you take one from the beginning? Melisandre's burning them all.
John, and you're muted,
Well,
John.
Melisandre, I mean, good religious zealot or best religious zealot? Like you're almost watching like a mental deterioration here.
Well, in season 8, she'll be a one-woman Red God show, so.
No, it's just I think the things that happen in 6.1, right?
601, yeah, it's the Red Woman, yes.
Like this is where it starts. Like she's saying what she's supposed to say, but I think this is the point where she doesn't even really feel it. That was my initial thought when I was watching this.
That Melisandre wasn't feeling it?
Yeah, it almost like a huckster, like a snake oil salesperson.
A big part of what she does is about the show, though, right? Like,
Right, but I think this is when she's admitting to herself that
Possibly.
she doesn't really believe any of this shit.
Well, I think she believes to an extent, but she knows she has to put on a show to make other people believe. Because not everyone can see into the flames. Not everyone has studied this for possibly 400 years like she has. If not bare minimum, 150 years, I would say. And that's where it comes in. You have to trick people into believing because you have to see with your eye. Most people only believe what they can see. And this is something that isn't quite tangible all the time. You know, the Hound is rare at seeing something in the flames. You saw how stunned Beric Dondarrion was when he actually did see something. So it's not just as if anybody can look in the flames and see something. So that's my take on it. I could be wrong.
Which begs the question: does Beric see anything?
Yeah, he's never talked about seeing anything in the flames. I don't think. It's been more of Thoros, I believe.
No, I don't believe either have. They have faith.
Yeah.
They have faith, which
No, they said the flames have led them. They've seen some visions in the flames, but I do think it was Thoros that saw them,
okay.
and not the Hound. I could be mistaken, but I think they've mentioned
But like
it.
the Hound saw something, and yeah, that's what takes everybody else aback. You know, because he's a person of no faith. And but yeah, like for me, the Melisandre scene, this is the moment of questioning faith, and it always comes off as like she's like, yeah, it's chicanery. That's what I'm doing, and I think this has later ramifications in the series because she's like, well, I've been throwing powders into flames to make them do this shit and all this. I've been making people burn statues that, like, I don't believe in those gods, but I really don't believe in my god. And now all of a sudden you're asking me to pray to like reanimate a corpse.
Yeah.
And I think more than the threat, more than all of that, I think that's why she leaves Westeros is because she's scared as hell. She's like, oh my gosh, like I've been playing this charlatan's role for a good 150 to 400 years, as Johnny said. And now, wait, this shit really happens? Hey, that's going to be scary. I mean, one would have to think that has to be frightening.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think, just because you are, say, a nun doesn't mean you're going to be the Virgin Mary, right? Like, I don't know that Melisandre sees herself as being a person in her faith that necessarily is anything more than a messenger of the faith. A preacher, a priestess. That's her role. I don't know that she doesn't believe fully in what it is she's practicing. I just don't think that she considers herself to be anyone of any more consequence in their faith than many others. I don't think she sees herself in that same caliber. I mean, why would
But
she
she
be living?
herself says that she pulls all these circus huckster tricks.
But you're going to find that in any shamanic based religion. You're going to find the people that have the iron oxide that they throw in the fire and it makes it spark, and all these things done for effect in order to capture the imagination and the faith of the people around them. That's your responsibility as a spiritual leader, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're somebody who has the visions. It just means you go through the actions to make people convert to the faith. So, but that's sort of where I see her. I think that she doesn't see herself as anything special. She just sees herself as fulfilling her duty to the Lord of Light. And that, I mean, come on, she gave birth to a shadow baby. She can't think none of it works. She looks young and she's not, so she knows something works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's hold on to her. She wants to find something tangible with this religion. She has faith, but she has enough doubt that she wants to find out for sure before she dies. She's waiting to die, in my
or that
opinion.
her years of practice never fulfilled her ambition.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of that's another way to look at it. It's like you've been slogging away at it for so long, and you're like, okay, well, this is as far as I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
Me, if I had doubt, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Kenzie. Please go on.
I think right now still she believes that Stannis is the one that she has to follow for now, because it's in 401 where she says that that we're no closer, or that pretty much just the drop of Gendry's blood in the leech just killed Robb Stark. So the fact of them trying to want to kill someone who has King's blood, aka would have been Gendry, would change the whole thing. Like, she still believes that. So it's not like, I think she just believes in the person who's in front of her and then follows that in terms of, this is what the Red God's telling me to do. She can't see past what he's actually showing her, which is like later on down the line in the book and in the show, when she's still with Stannis, but she sees snow every time and all of this stuff. So she has this belief system in herself and the Red God still, and she loses that faith after she loses Stannis and all of that, and then it's reinforced in her when basically Davos is like, try. I know, like, I've seen you do this, this, and this, and this, but you haven't done this yet. Try it and see what happens. And that's really when her faith is re-put back in herself. She loses it after she thinks that everything she's seen is a lie, because it's when she's with Barrick that she realizes she may not have that power, and when she tries it, she knows that she has it. So I don't know, I could be wrong, doesn't matter. And then after this is when they she Celeste like commands this scene with I ate books, a book soup for dinner, on Dragonstone and seagulls, which again is another book thing that John must be like over. But what do you want to say to Donnie?
Yeah, I just want to say one of the last things she says. There's only one hell, the one we live in now. And man, truer words have never been spoken. But it's all we got. Hang on to life and love it, my friends. Love it. Enjoy every minute of it.
But what did you think about the book soup and the seagulls that Celeste was talking about? Like, book soup, isn't that appetizing?
I don't know. In her own way, she's bragging about what a wonderful husband she has. You know, that's sort of her purpose. It's like she is absolutely and completely devoted to Stannis. And I think that that's what it comes down to in that whole thing, is that, you know, Stannis killed me a seagull. Stannis once boiled me books to eat. You know, she's, you know, absolutely enamored with her husband. I think partially because she's gone somewhat mad due to all of her lost pregnancies. And who knows if that's hormonal or like just psychological damage that developed consistently with every tragedy, to the point that, you know, now she's just numb. And then, of course, you know, what happened once they finally did have a child, and then she's like, oh, now, and this child was diseased and marked. So the question is like, who does she think was the one that was like, we know that a doll was responsible for the grayscale, but what does Celeste think was the reason behind that? Like, does she think she's cursed?
Probably because their only child was a daughter to survive past the first year of life or past infancy, and then, or like the major part of infancy, like right after childbirth, and that probably she sees a lot of herself, what herself used to be as a child in Shireen. And then it was a Dornish trader who went to Dragonstone with a one wooden doll, and then Shireen as a baby touched it to her cheek, and that's what she got with her dragon scale,
Her
grayscale. So yeah, I feel like she sees a lot of herself maybe in Shireen, and or the fact that she just feels that weird mother's guilt of how she had so many children who had promise, like her sons that had so many promise, and then none of them survived. So
Could they have burned those, to Dog's point, whenever all the fetus jars went? The blood probably wouldn't be good.
The
embalming fluid, but
yeah.
the smell.
Fed them to the
burning
dragons.
baby. Fucking just. We're talking about some weird shit with this show. Sorry, go ahead. My random weird thought.
Melisandre put them in.
Hey, John. How you doing there, buddy?
I was looking up a quote. To go back to what you were talking. There is only one hell, and we live in it. I believe it was Aquinas who initially said that.
Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah, Saint Thomas Aquinas, who initially said that we don't really need a hell, because Like life is hell. Like it's suffering. It's pain. It's torment. Um, I think that was Aquinas. I want to say I'm not sure about that. I did find the other quote that I wanted to. Joseph Conrad. Belief in a supernatural source of evil is not necessary. Men alone are quite capable of every wickedness. Which I think kind of feeds back into that whole concept. Yeah, Shireen. Oh my gosh. Like, yes, kill Melisandre. Please kill Melisandre in season 8. Hashtag Shireen. Hashtag that little toy doll.
The little toy doll.
Well, I mean, poor Shireen. Celise, it was like Celise came. It's like she snapped back into her mind. This one can see how through such tragedy she's turned to this like religious fanaticism and really looked at her own daughter as like being a curse, especially considering Shireen is still faithful to the Seven, and how I'm sure in Celisa's eyes the Seven let her down all those times.
The mother, probably.
Right? But she feels let down by her faith, and it doesn't surprise me that she switches to another religion with like obsessive enthusiasm.
Yeah. I can see that. I can totally see that. Your most zealous people are people who practice something else.
Well, also too, like the man that she's basically like fawning over, her husband, is now being prophetically told by one of the people that represents the Lord of Light that he is destined for greatness. So it's like, and that he is supposed to do all of these great things because the Lord of Light prophesizes that this is going, like all of these things are going to happen, and then he will sit like the Iron Throne. So it's like, hey, if you want to better your own cause and not have yourself be queen in a sense, almost, then why not follow the God that's going to get you what you want?
Yeah, and it doesn't go as much into it in the show, but Celise is the reason that Melisandre's there.
Mm-hmm.
Celise is the reason that, like, basically Stannis is like, okay, shut up, I'll go to church. I mean, in the books, that's made clear, I think. Yeah. At least I felt that way for when I first read it. It's like, okay, shut up, I'll go to church. And like I feel no sympathy whatsoever for Celise. Or anything she suffers or anything she deals with. She made her bed, she can sleep in it.
I think that's a bit harsh.
Huh? What'd you say, John?
A bed of babies.
I mean, you have to remember too, a woman's situation in a culture like this. I mean, you are raised that your role in the world is to marry into a noble family, to uphold the nobility of that family, and to provide heirs to that family. And that's something that she has failed to do, and regardless of the fact that she's not responsible for the reason that that's happened, she carries a great deal of personal blame for that. I'm not saying that, being a cow, to her daughter and being so cold is excusable, but it's understandable, especially when she's just doing what is expected of her, as women were expected to do in cultures like that.
No, I'm just talking about, like, Celise was the religious zealot.
Oh,
Stannis, just he's like, okay, shut up, I'll go to church.
Yeah, it wasn't until shit started going his way that he was like, oh, well, maybe.
Yeah.
And even then,
the shadow baby sticks changed him.
Even when he like kind of side-eyed
Forever changed.
Yeah. But I
He-
think Johnny's right.
Shadow babies.
Totally side-eyed it until that shadow baby thing.
he was like,
Shadow baby sex. Shadow sex. Shadow baby sex. Yeah. Celeste is a little woohoo, but like Johnny and I had talked about before the stream, it's like you have to have one outwardly crazy person. Because there's like Cersei, what she shows is mild crazy. Joffrey, another person who shows mild to extreme crazy, but then there's just Celeste who just outwardly is just 100% crazy, especially with like, oh, did you see their sins all burned away and they're with the Lord now? It's just like, and then Davos is like, yeah, run along.
so who's more crazy, Lysa Arryn or Selyse?
Oh God. They need to start a coffee clutch, those two.
No, I don't want them to. It would be like the worst thing.
Now
They'd
you have
hit me up on YouTube, and I'd be like, "Oh, you seem like nice people," and I'd be like, "Oh gosh, now I'm a Scientologist." Fuck.
that's another thing of like a stream of like who's the more psycho crazy, like the not like more mentally crazy mother? Is it is it Celeste or is it Lysa Arryn? Who knows? Ben says that I think Lysa would give her a run for her money. Yeah, I feel like Lysa is more crazy because Celeste is not like still breastfeeding Shireen.
No, she just says, "Hey, throw my kid in a fire."
Yeah, there's that. I mean, not yet, but there's that.
Yeah, not
Welcome,
yet, but
imagination realm. Don't worry.
don't worry,
We still have plenty of bullshit to talk about.
yeah, we haven't got to the main event yet, which is the
upcoming though.
Speaking of the main event, Johnny, do you have your sample?
Which one?
Your sample of The Strangler by Bobby Catalano.
No,
Oh, yeah,
I meant the ding 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 bell.
Oh,
Since we're talking about the main event.
there you go.
Who's at the door?
That'll work.
The stranger.
The stranger coming for
Thank
Joffrey.
you.
So it'll take us there we go.
There we go.
So it'll take us a second to get here, but the scene after Bran is Marjorie and Joffrey get hitched. Tyrion and Sansa say, "We have a new queen. Luckily, it's not you." And
better her than you.
Yeah, better her than you. And then Tywin and Olenna have the grandparent chat about wedding. Podrick and Oberyn watch the gymnast, or the contortionist, however you want to call it. And then the wedding feast happens. So we can kind of break it there with the beginning of the wedding feast where Marjorie gives a speech about how the meal will be given to the poor. So
yeah, it'll be given to the poor, all right. Cersei will say that's not happening. Joffrey just major douche, cuts up this pie. Super iconic. You can tell I'm so happy about this. I wish you could look into my dead eyes. Go ahead, Clarissa.
My first question about the wedding is before they all go sit at the table and everything, there's that scene where Tyrion's walking with Bronn and Pod and making sure that Shay went off on the ship that was ordered for her. And what does everybody think of how Bronn responded? Because he's like, yeah, she's gone. She's not. Do you think he lied to Tyrion, or do you think she was apprehended after he saw her off?
I believe he really thought she was gone. I'm pretty sure in the books he escorted her all the way there, and then she just kind of didn't get on the boat, or if she did, she got off of it. But
the second is correct, Johnny. Yeah, she got on the ship and got off of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but was she taken off? Because it was at the breakfast that Cersei points her out to Tywin, and he says, "Have her brought to the Tower of the Hand."
Yeah. Yeah, before the
I mean,
wedding.
Maybe in the books it's a little more detailed about what happened, but in the show, maybe because the show is a little bit different. It's not completely accurate to the books.
And you don't
I,
see Tyrion have any kind of blame to Bronn.
yeah, I wouldn't discount it, but I don't think so. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty douchey if he did. So, I mean, he's an all for himself douche, but he's not like a. I
Yeah.
just don't think he's
given
quite that douchey.
well, given everything he did later too, with setting up the Jaime and Tyrion meeting, also coming and visiting Tyrion in the jail cell, in the cells when he probably shouldn't have. He tells Tyrion the truth, what he does, when he actually does slightly betray him, which it isn't really betrayal. He's always told Tyrion what he's about, and yeah, he wants to keep his head later, so we'll talk about that later.
Actually, that scene that you're talking about is my favorite piece of dialogue in the entire series. My very favorite piece of dialogue in the entire series.
When he goes see him in the prison later in the season.
Yeah, it's my very favorite piece of dialogue in the entire series. I think it's brilliant. I think it shows the two characters exactly how they are. It's like, I wish you well. I wish you well too, and what I thought you were my friend. I am your friend, but I'm not gonna. This goes beyond I can't remember the exact words, but it like dialogue wise, I remember like that just jumping out at me like insanely.
Yeah, kind of like how earlier in the episode that exchange with him and Varys, when Varys is like, "No, I'm not gonna lie for you. I don't have a sellsword to save my life, and I don't have a brother to avenge me. I think that there's a lot of wonderful scenes in this season that give us some really excellent insight into characters.
As a book person, I like show Brown more than book Brown.
I think a lot of people do, from what I've heard. I haven't read enough book Braun yet to render a verdict.
On the same note, this whole scene that's coming up, like book Brown, I think does it better.
Yeah. But how did we feel about the whole the conversation of it's better her like the whole Tyrion, because we kind of skipped over the part when they actually got married, so it's like the whole better her than you, so it's like what, like, so Tyrion's kind of just like thankful that she's kind of just there and does not have to be married to Joffrey, even though we know that the wedding only they don't even consummate their marriage. Both couples in this scene that are highlighted don't actually consummate their marriage, so it's kind of ironic, but also kind of funny at the same time.
Ew, the only people that consummate anything are brother and sister.
Or niece and nephew and aunt. Or really.
Or Hunter and Huntress.
Hunter and Huntress.
Yeah, Hunter and Huntress, that's right.
Or the Unsullied leader and his female interpreter. aka Miss Sunday and Grey Worm, or Dany and her Dario 2.0.
Season 8, will Gendry ever get laid? Tune in next season.
Who knows? But the whole thing of what if the
#dual purpose Warhammer.
Oh god.
Oh man! So we finally see how Marjorie looks like when she gets married. The first time on screen, and she looks great. So it's funny when she gets married. The second time, she wears her hair pretty much exactly the same. So it's kind of funny. But the whole Joffrey with his, I forgot how he sits his crown. It's more or less on the crown of his head. then like actually like firmly like on top. Like Tommen has his like actually sticking in his head, while Joffrey's just lays on top and leaning forward, and you can see it when they have their first kiss.
Breakfast. Oh yeah.
It's just like ugh, like why is it like that? Just like for like Heidi from Costume Code probably be like, what? Why when it's doing that? But
No, I think that's intentionally aesthetically done.
no, but like it's just, like as like it just makes me like go.
Like Joffrey
"Ugh."
looks wrong in a crown.
Yeah.
He looks like a fool.
It's also an altered crown. Did you notice that? The change in the
Yeah,
crown?
they added more stuff to it. If I
They
remember.
added silver rose vines in amongst the antlers in his crown. Rosebud.
Hmm.
Like a
Yeah.
like a sled. Rosebud.
Just like that.
Yeah, the wedding has happened, and it's quick. It's for the big wedding it's supposed to be. It's a very quick scene of here, like clunk. I do, and I bid you adieu. Like it's like what? And then the Olenna and Tywin. It's like, well, I'm paying for this wedding, so you better enjoy something before you die. And that's pretty much one of the last things Tywin gets to enjoy before he dies. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a big Festivus thing, or Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us. I just want to shout out Fake Arya. Yeah, I just never understood why
Arya.
introducing a foreign girl made more sense than a Lannister bannerman. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I just had to go ahead and
Yeah.
yeah, I could not agree with you more. Hashtag justice for Dorne. Son of a bitch.
Mhm. I didn't like Talisa to come. Yeah, the dog show didn't like Talisa either. Just yeah.
I have to admit, I wasn't a big fan of Talisa myself. I was just like, really? Really?
Yeah.
And this was before I even read the books.
Attack.
I thought that she was just a bit of a square peg in a round hole.
Well, I mean, she just let me look over your shoulder and study all your battle plans while I write mysterious letters that Tywin keeps. Like in the next scene that flashes, Tywin's literally reading a letter. It's like, come on,
one.
or writing one. Like it's really odd. If you go back and watch all the Talissa scenes, it's like, wow, she's just like openly and just in your face a spy. And Roose Bolton had to clean up the mess. You know. Dead witnesses seeing nothing. They don't say jack shit or whatever.
Yeah,
John, don't talk to me like that, John.
The whole thing with just
Sorry, John.
with with Talissa, it's just like why her character like literally served no purpose but just to be like dead, while like compared to the like they could have written the Talissa character a bit more like Jane Westerling, but they didn't, which is just like why? It's like you have that character right there, right, like it's sitting right here, and you just don't want to use it. Like, come on. But
No,
it's even a more honorable story for Rob, right?
mhm.
I'm the biggest advocate of like when you convert things from one medium to another, there are going to be changes. Like I'm a huge advocate of that. But yeah, turning Jane Westerling into Talissa, I thought was just for me it threw spanners into the cogs that like didn't really need to be there.
Yeah, it's true. What do we think about Olenna dismissing her son easily? To get herself back on track. She goes like, "No, go away." He's like, he's 2 years old, and he's like running up to mom, like, "Mommy," and he's like, "No." Yeah, Mace Tyrell.
He's like, I have nobody to talk to, Mom.
But I'm rich, bitch.
Cambridge bitch. They needed just to cast left and right for this scene. Like, come on, right? Like, just to have left and right, just talk to Mace for like 2 seconds, right? Just see him having like a conversation with someone besides his daughter or his mother. Yeah, it's like left and right. They just needed to be in that scene for like 5 seconds, and just anyway. Even though left and right are very important.
Mackenzie, before we move on, if you can address Sasuke's point here,
with
which I
Rob.
actually think is kind of interesting about Rob, yeah.
Oh yeah, they tried to make a cooler story for Rob. He was taken with his girl, with Jane. Rob was injured and stayed at her home where they had sex. So it's like Talissa made Rob more like autonomous, I guess, or like more like monogamous, whatever. So it's yeah, like there was that whole thing of it was not an accident, but it was because like he did it because he had taken her maidenhood, not just because he's like, I find her attractive. Like it's not like and the whole
honor thing.
And it was like because he was injured. It wasn't just because he was just like, oh, look at me, I'm like blah blah blah. Like they could have done that with the same actress. You just write the script differently.
But mother, she has what the common folk call an apple bottom booty.
And has some jeans for the like there's these new things that Westeros is inventing called apple bottom jeans, and it fits perfect. Yeah, it's but I feel like there was the thing with that they should have done differently, but they didn't, and it's just kind of like because that too, the fact that I think she claims that she is pregnant spawns the whole John being an heir if the child doesn't survive or something like that. There was that whole thing. So anyway,
so I have a question.
Yes.
How many people think that poor girl wearing that wedding dress in this episode caught herself on those bloody spikes on her dress like 1,000 times? Did you notice the thorns all over the rose vines on her gown, on the wedding gown? For Marjorie's wedding gown?
Yeah, Natalie Dormer probably was like, ow.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, I never heard any stories or anything. And I'm like, what are they made of? Did they make like them out of Fimo or something? Or are they...
I know this scene and the whole wedding sequence took like 4 or 5 days just to shoot the whole feast. So like and to sit there in the summer sun and just go like, yeah, okay. But like for some of the food, like they made some of the food like real food, and then other stuff it was just like made for just to, like aesthetics, like drum up. So it's like I think the most of the like the part where they cut the cake, the pigeon, the pie is like was real, or part of it where they cut it was real, the rest of it was fake. A lot of the food on the plates, some of that was real, but some of it was fake. So like but like the 5th day, and it was sitting in the hot sun, so you can imagine how stank that was.
Yeah, that must have been the worst smelling movie set of all time.
Yeah, there's that whole thing. So, but yeah, I feel like poor Natalie Dormer, she's just like sitting there like
John's coffin.
One of the things that I noticed about the
smells
set.
Of roses and lilac, thank you.
What?
One of the things. What's that?
Johnny said that my coffin stank, and I said no. My coffin smells like roses and lilac.
Well, that's lovely.
Then what did you say, Johnny, after that?
I said, "Cool guys club."
So speaking of the set of this episode, did anybody ever happen to discuss the tapestry that's behind the wedding couple at the wedding?
Oh, like what's on the tapestry?
Yeah, has anybody noticed that tapestry? There's an intertwining pattern of climbing rose vines with like rose symbols, stags, and lions, and the letter L. L. He's supposed to be a Baratheon, and there are L's all over. I mean, it could mean lion for all we know.
Maybe it's for
But it's
Lucy
all
Lucinda's
L's.
Lavender Luxuries, and that's who's sponsoring the wedding.
Maybe that's what it was. But I just thought, oh, that's cheeky.
Good point, because
here, but yeah, it is right on there. I got it right here looking at it.
L is Catherine Harding. L is for loser.
L for Lannister. L for lion. Like those are all. He's supposed to be a Baratheon. What's with all the L's? His name's Joffrey.
And there's a lot of the stuff like interiors is just lions. So it's like,
Hey, do I usually come on streams depressed?
Oh, because it just says Johnny's happy in the stream.
Bumblebee tuna.
Bumblebee tuna. But yeah, I don't think anybody really mentions that, or they do just like gloss over it. But
that's well pointed out.
Just the fact that it was pointed out is just like, woo! Now I have to go back and like look at it.
You'll see what I mean. I was just like, but wait a minute.
Oh, now you're getting me into like LML speculation levels. Like, did Joffrey know that did he believe like he condemned these lies about his heritage, but did he know and like embrace it, or was that a Cersei decision?
Marcella knew.
Or was it a Tywin decision? Like, did Tywin like admit to himself in the deep dark secrets of his mind that Joffrey was?
I'll say real quick that Marcella knew, and also she's described in the books and in the show as airheaded. So she knew. I'm sure Joffrey had an inkling. That's why he had all the bastards killed. Now, I believe it's different in the books and the show who killed the bastards, right?
In the books, it's never really.
But the show, they're saying Joffrey.
In the show, it's obvious that it's Joffrey. In the books, it's left to the reader's imagination.
Yeah, that's true. I just, it was just one of those details that when I was doing the watch through again, I was like, wait a minute, why aren't those bees for Baratheon?
Well, you could make kind of the argument in a sense that Cersei is not Cersei Baratheon, she is Cersei Lannister.
Yeah, but it's not a matriarchal society.
No, but like the whole thing of like Joffrey being able to choose.
I looked it up on Reddit. It's it stands for Lancel and Cersei's secret love for Lancel.
Oh my god. But yeah, I didn't know that, so I'll have to go look at that.
Lancel Lannister. Ooh.
All the L's. Yeah. Watch.
It's for Lyanna.
For her, like for the woman that she despises. Yeah, we could probably do like a whole like little video. Did you all know? If like the whole thing and but anyways, I'm rambling. And then we have Oberyn and is now at the wedding. And then when Marjorie talks about how the feast, how the Olenna speaks to Sansa, and this is where, if you're paying close attention, she adjusts Sansa's necklace. And this is where a lot of people think the stone comes from.
It's a necklace on the teleshow. It's her headdress.
Yeah, it's a hair like net, like a hair clip in net in the book. Yeah.
I do want to say one thing, and then y'all can keep going for a minute. Oberyn Martell. My name is Indigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Oh my god.
Wrong show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The
yeah, go ahead, Clarissa.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I think that the line that they give Elena for that scene when she approaches Sansa right off, she's like, "Oh, the wind has gotten to you, child," and starts to rearrange her hair and her everything. I thought that was like that's such a grandma thing to do. The wind has gotten to you, child. Here, let me fix that.
Yeah.
She just needed to go like,
Yeah. But is that intent? But Clarissa, I'll counter, give you a thought. But is that intentional to make it look like when she's adjusting things or getting like the strangler off the necklace?
absolutely.
Is
That's
that
how I
like,
do it.
yeah? That is it, no, but is that to misdirect the audience to be like, if you're not paying attention with the little tiny things? Because if you're a show watcher at this point, you don't know like how the hell the strangler gets from here to here to there until like 2 episodes from now, I think, or is it? It might be the next episode, but yeah, it's not
Eh,
revealed who's coming.
well, you know where it came from, but you don't know how it got from the necklace to the glass because you have the scene with. I mean, and you obviously learn that Sansa wasn't in on it because
I know,
Baelish,
yeah.
has to explain it to her, and if she knew, she would.
John, can you bust
Don't
out your
you dare.
English voice?
Sansa had every bit of clue. I gave her hints, told her I had a straw bed for her next
Feather
inside
bed.
my own. It's a
Feather
straw and
The
a
feather
Greyjoy.
bed. It's a
Treason is
feather bed.
Stop screaming. Sansa, stop screaming at me. It was supposed to be a feather bed, but all the feathers ran out when Joffrey killed the fucking pigeons. So I cannot stop this. She's like, what the fuck's going on? No, really, honestly, this is what happened, and it's awesome. It's fantastic. I made Joffrey strangle on his own blood juices. Of course, it's supposed to look like a natural death as far as choking on something. It did not work out that way in the show.
Right, because Olena's not an expert on poisons at all. She didn't know what it was going to do.
Don't they say poison is a woman's weapon?
Just because they say it doesn't mean it's true.
No, I know, but like,
And eunuchs and cravens. Did you know? Oh, Kinky Chains one said that.
oh god, his scene comes up in a few minutes.
She said, "Oh, oh God."
But yeah, there's so much misdirection with that cup.
Mm-hmm. And what she does with it, yeah.
If I might interject, as someone who like I do stage magic, it's like a thing I do. I get into it. That's the entire point. It's misdirection. Like, no, I'm not doing a magic trick. There's a reason I know exactly what card you pulled. There's a way and a how and a means and a why to why I know exactly which card you pulled. There's a way and a means and a how to I know exactly where that P is under these three cups, or I know where Queen of Diamonds is. Like it's a trick. It's all misdirection.
Yeah.
And I love how this scene is done. This is part of the reason why this is my favorite episode. One of my favorite episodes. It's like in my top 5 by far. It is because it's when I was reading it in the book, but like I picked up right away, and maybe that's because I have that background. Like when she said she touched her hair, I'm like, somebody's gonna die. Like I just knew it. I just knew it. That it was one of the few times that I was ahead of GRM as a writer. I was like, oh, I got this. Like someone's gonna die, and it's probably gonna be Joffrey or Cersei. Like I distinctly remember that moment.
Sasaki, I was at the wedding. I was in between Tywin's legs underneath the table. You just did not see me. I caused no slights. I had an alibi. I was pleasing Tywin Lannister.
But speaking of pleasing, it pleased me. God, you're so dirty. I tried to keep a straight face. I tried so hard.
Oh man. Oh god.
But
So-
no, I loved how they shot this scene because I even though they made it a necklace as opposed to a headdress or
It's hair.
hairnet.
It's like a hair. It was like a. It's described as like a hair net, if I remember, but it's like has a whole bunch of jewels on it, and I guess because it was maybe easier for the designers to just give her a necklace, and because
Right.
than a hair net. So
And probably cheaper because back then they were on a budget.
balling on a budget.
But like I love how they did that. Like that's
George wrote this episode Septa Shana's Secret said. If we haven't mentioned that.
Oh yeah, George did write this episode. I forgot.
Thanks, Septa. If you haven't checked out that channel, go check out Septa Shana's Secrets. Very informative and thought-provoking channel.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing that out there.
definitely worth checking out. It's some really great stuff.
Yeah. And then to move, I'll just throw this in to move us along. But the whole Loras and him making eyes with Oberyn while he's having some like I guess finger things with Ilaria Sands is like kind of funny because it's like, does he know about Loras Tyrell because of the guy that was in 401, which was
Everyone knows about Loras Tyrell.
No, but because
He's a
Loras
famous sword swallower.
Even his grandma's like,
no, but like the whole addition of
this
like
dude loves the dick.
no, but like knowing exactly like what I'm just adding to this is like what exactly like Loras likes because the guy that was involved with Oberyn in 401 is the same person that banged Loras. So it's like I know what you like
right.
on
Hashtag
another
finger
level.
things is going
What was
on in the
his
chat.
name?
Hashtag finger things.
Hashtag finger things. So
What was that guy's name again?
can't even remember. I don't have the note
Chat.
anymore.
Does anyone in the chat remember the name of that character?
It's like
Oliver.
Oliver.
Thank you, Ben.
I
His
believe
name's
it was
Oliver.
Finger
thing.
Basher. Hello, Rick. Your new name is Finger Basher. Would you like to give me a shay? Oh, a shay, Rick? Yes, go get shay for me.
And then so
Working on horrible voices here.
No, actually, your Ramsay Bolton voice was dead on. It was like scary.
My wormy lips are ready to peel your fingers. Hey, does anyone have a spare fingernail I can borrow?
No.
No.
Sorry,
Not for whatever you're trying to do with it.
But
Trying to put one back on Reek.
After so we have that whole thing. But also Cersei plays nice too. I forgot when she's like, oh, like when Marjorie's like, oh, we'll give all the food to the poor people when we're finished. She goes, you're such a doll, pretty much. And then because that's a complete lie. That's like the like what? That's like a complete lie.
Yeah, see you next Tuesday, Cersei.
Yeah. And then we see Jaime and Loras speak about their respective sisters and the wedding that's not going to happen, as well as Brienne and Cersei talking. Brienne talks to Marjorie and Joffrey about Renly and to have their reign be long and prosperous. And then Brienne and Cersei talking about Selwyn Tarth and Jaime. And Jaime and Cersei stare at each other after Brienne leaves. So it's like the siblings like are staring at each other after talking about with Brienne. So it's like, So this is like a brewing love triangle right now, even though it's not one but the other. And bye, fake Arya.
Bye, fake Arya.
Bye, fake Arya.
Well, I'm not gonna. Bye, fake Arya. I love your sister, Sansa. Enrique.
So What do you think about?
Tell me, Lord.
How about Loris and then Bran and all of this stuff?
Okay, so can I just throw out there that Loris has a Superman crush on Oberyn? And, I'm hetero, but I kind of have a man crush on Oberyn at this point. Dude, that dude is suave as a mofo. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Goodness gracious. And it's just so funny that I don't know. The debonair on this man just kills me. And Cersei, goodness gracious. You love him, don't you? I'm going to kill you, bitch. She's already thinking of 40 ways to kill her just within that couple of seconds. Then Jamie does the same for Loris. It's pretty funny, but are Brienne and Jamie going to end up together? I'm thinking more and more so on this rewatch, especially that if Jamie ends up with anyone, he will take Brienne's maidenhead. That could be a big deal.
They're in
And then
some
he
weird.
dies.
Yeah, they're in
Or
some
Brienne
weird.
dies.
Oh, sorry. This is my one thing. Is like they're almost in a sense like Romeo and almost in a sense weird sense Romeo and Juliet in a in a weird in a twisted version because it's like they've been separated, but then they may be meant to be put together, and then that's what it's almost the opposite of like
A
them having to
sapphire by
die.
any other name is still a sapphire.
Mm-hmm. And then it's funny though when Cersei goes, "You're Lord Selwyntar's daughter, which makes you a lady, even if you don't like it." Like,
And she's like, as you say,
yeah,
like,
it's like Arya. It's like with Arya and how she doesn't like to be called a lady, but because of who her father was, she is a lady. So it's like,
sorry.
No,
So it's okay. He really pulls off that yellow man dress.
Yellow man dress.
Yes, Pedro Pascal does pull off a yellow man dress quite well. I'll pull off his yellow man dress next.
Hashtag yellow man dress.
Hashtag Clarissa said mellow man dress.
Mellow man dress. Mellow man dress. And then after Jamie Bran, which we can all just talk about just to say that I mentioned it, it's Cersei saves one of the Tyrell ladies from Pycelle's grubby old hands, and dirty man Pycelle is, and she still acts like she's queen in front of him, and then they use Sir Dantos for 2 seconds, and then
Take care, lovely Ben.
bye
Bye,
Ben. Bye Ben.
I'll see you tomorrow night.
And then
Bye, Ben.
Cersei and Tywin.
You better not be cheating on me, John. Fucking sorry, Southside. We're going off the rails. It's all my fault.
No, it's okay. Cersei and Tywin meet with Oberyn and Ilaria Sand. And Oberyn goes, Lady Cersei, which is like the first time she's ever referenced as a lady in the current timeline. Because she was obviously a lady before she marries Robert Baratheon. But in like this current timeline, she's not known as Lady Cersei. She's learned as the Queen. And then in a couple episodes, like episode 5 of season 4, she's Marjorie, the Dowager Queen.
Yeah.
Well, that is what she
Queen
is.
Mother or Dowager Queen.
I mean, both of you come from independent royal provinces of Britain.
The colonies, yeah. It's a colony.
But she's a dowager queen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just
Queen
like
Elizabeth's mom was.
Yeah. A dowager queen. I mean, that's...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's still referred to as like the Queen Mother, or the Queen Mother's gone now, but.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because I'm not sure about the nomenclature.
Mm-hmm. Is
it once an heir is born, you go from being the Queen Mother to being the Dowager Queen?
No, once the successive heir has been through the coronation, then they become a dowager queen. They are still like Queen Elizabeth's mom, who I believe was also Elizabeth, was she was Queen Elizabeth, um, the wife of King George, until when King George died. Then she was still the queen until Queen Elizabeth II was crowned, at which point she became the Queen Mother, because
Well,
now
she's
she was.
Queen Elizabeth II. Then she's definitely not. Her mom was definitely not Elizabeth. I can't remember.
Well,
I
no,
thought
because
she was Lizzie Borden. I'm so confused.
when a monarch, because not all monarchs use their actual name, like don't use their birth name
Right,
as
just like
the
popes.
name that. But she decided that for simplicity's sake, Princess Elizabeth decided to stay Elizabeth. But she's Queen Elizabeth II, as in the second queen, head monarch. So Queen Elizabeth I, who of the Elizabethan era from the 17 that reigned in the 1700s, she was Queen Elizabeth I. And then our current monarch, Her Majesty, is Queen Elizabeth II. But because her mother was originally not the ruling queen, but she was the queen. What do they call it?
Like, because Elizabeth became queen
Mhm.
because her uncle abdicated for her father to become king.
Yeah.
So it's that, whatever technical term is. And yes, her mother was actually named Elizabeth.
Does
Yes,
Dowager
that's-
imply that they're also a widow? The imagination realm is throwing that out
I
there.
think so, because George,
Because other than that,
Mhm.
you'd have the Queen Regent, right?
yeah,
The Queen Regent would be the wife of the ruling king.
Or the mother.
Yeah,
the mother of
the Queen Regent or the Prince Regent. That was the term that I'm looking
But the
for. It's going to
queen
be
would
the
be the
spouse
wife
of the
the ruler.
ruling monarch.
it's
Okay,
the
so the to-be spouse or the mother of the king.
yeah.
Right.
If the king or
The mother of the king, but the king isn't a grown up yet.
yes, if he's like
Gotcha.
5,
Gotcha.
or the spouse of the
Mhm.
Or
king
he's
or
like
ruler.
Joffrey.
We're getting into so many semantics. The chat's going
Technical.
insane right now.
I'm
and it's
sorry.
like-
I'm the one who goes
I
that
know.
derailing. I just
And
wanted
then no, it's
Mhm.
fine. No,
I
it's
wanted
kind
it
of
cleared up for me.
well.
But basically,
No,
a
it's all
Queen
good.
Regent or a Prince Regent is an HRH, and the ruler is His or Her Majesty.
Mhm.
So,
Well, this is a timely conversation because there's a shift in power in Westeros coming at the end of this
Right?
episode. So it's nice to know. And then pretty much
Can we
Oberyn
just
and
talk about Ilaria Sand's hair real quick?
yes,
Someone else brought that up. Oh my god, what a shit show that was. I
the
hated it.
poor actress and the poor who gave them the hair direction to do that? Like, come on.
I don't know. They look like something a Dothraki Queen Khaleesi would have.
Like
No,
Danny
I
when
don't know.
all of
It's
it's like that'll be Danny's wedding hair because all
Like
of her
Danny
hair
shit.
will be like in all the like all of her hair in braids in season 8 if that's her wedding hair. But yeah, the poor man's disease is gout, as they call it. So that was like the last thing from Oberyn.
yeah, talking about his brother Doran.
When
You
they're trying
know,
to
yeah. Go ahead and segue. He'll come up
And
later.
then Joffrey makes his speech, the spectacle of the War of the Five Kings, which technically he hasn't won yet, because Balon is still around, and Stannis. And then Joffrey has his cupbearer, being his uncle, and then he drinks poisonous wine and dies. There we go. We made it.
We made it. What did you say that Joffrey did?
He drinks poisonous wine,
And what?
dies.
Okay. Yeah, everybody give it up for Sasa.
Oh no, what?
Oh, goodness.
Had to throw that out there for Francis. We were talking about Francis the other day.
Hashtag Dario number one.
Yeah, because. And I just had to throw a couple bit of
John,
things out there
you
because.
play that too shortly because, like, I get ready to dance, and then
Oh no, I can't let you dance to my song because I have to. Yeah,
the
and
dancing
then I'll make you everywhere, man, and then I'll make you sit around and play with your little duck toy, buddy, in the bathtub while I give you a bath. Change your diaper. Anyways, what was I saying? No.
You were talking about how Joffrey has been poisoned and has now died. So hashtag
Yeah.
fatality.
So Joffrey chucked on a pair of, and he just, man, that was an epic scene. Jack Gleason did a fantastic job there. I think they went a little overboard with the
No.
effects of the blood. No, because of
totally
how the
disagree.
strangler actually works. It's supposed to look natural. I don't, it's supposed to it makes your throat swell up, and it basically closes your throat. It feels like a hand on your throat, and it looks like you choked on a piece of food. Now, it was cool, and everybody wanted Joffrey to suffer like hell.
Show
What
off
did
the
you say, man?
strangler. Show off the strangler. So we know
and
what it
they
looks
do
like.
address
Don't
it
whisper at
properly
me.
in season 7 when
Speak.
she's like, "I didn't know." When Elena's like, "I didn't know it would happen that way."
Can you guys see that?
Yeah,
It's my strangler.
I know you've got the strangler.
I'm not
No, you
talking
gotta
to you.
show it
No.
off.
Hold on. Let me
So
find
how
it.
And
many
who
crystals?
did you get that from, Johnny?
Oh, I got this from some person who is a great friend of mine. Bobby Catalano, how's it going? Don't get the wrong impression, I don't want to. But she is one of my best friends, and she is fantastic. Handmade by Bobby. Go check it out on any of my videos. You'll have her link if someone can throw her link in the chat. Also, you'll see her on Cylon Johns. She is just fantastic. She's an awesome person.
I thought I put it. I don't know if I put it in the description. Damn it! I thought I did. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I'll put it in.
And I'm
after.
back. She's not in it for the money. If you want something made, check it out. She will make something for you. Don't pressure on the time because
Oh, he's silencing out.
you're
But
happy with the end result.
Bobby is making really special things over like secret things. So who knows? They may appear on her.
Oh yeah, giveaways on my channel as well. So be on the lookout as well for that. Giveaways on the Cylon Johns too, if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Internet.
Where is Bobby? Bobby had like disappeared. I guess she didn't want to hear about
fell
Joffrey's
asleep.
murder. She didn't want to hear about Joffrey's murder.
She's like, no.
She's a secret Joffrey lover.
Secret Joffrey lover. Yeah. But yeah, what did you feel like, John? I know you were a book person first, but how did you feel about Joffrey's murder? How it was displayed on screen?
I thought it was very well done on screen. I do like that it. Yes, Johnny's right. It was so much more visceral in the show. It was apparent that he was poisoned, but they do come back to that. I think it's 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it? Am I right, Sessa? You when Jamie confronts Elena, is that 7-2, 7-3?
It's 7-3, Queen's
Yeah.
Justice.
Yeah.
But it's actually addressed. She's like, I didn't know it would be that grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought it was well done. As a film person,
Mm-hmm.
it's payoff for the viewer. I mean, it's real payoff for the viewer. Like, you've wanted this numb little
Douche.
and
He's a douche.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is. But he played that character, like Jack Gleason
No,
played that
Jack,
character so
Yeah.
well.
brilliant. Like if you can play somebody who people hate that much, especially if you're a decent person, which he is. He's like a really cool guy. Like props to him as an actor. Doing 3 years of that now, like his acting career is pretty much fracked. Well, you can be like this awful mastermind, or you can be this horrible like petty villain or whatever. But no, you're not going to be the protagonist in any film or anything like that. Like he pulled it off well. Yeah, that scene really did it for me. Some things I didn't get to talk on the former conversation. Yeah, Oberyn Martell is hot AF. Clarissa, I don't get it. His biceps aren't big enough for you to find him attractive.
Sweetie, I like them big, I like them small, I like them all. What can I say?
Okay, fair enough.
As long as they're visible.
Shorter
she
men have
likes-
better leverage.
She likes the whole box of chocolates.
She'll even eat that coconut.
Yeah,
Phil.
or that strawberry cream one. Oh god, that's the worst.
I
Yeah,
can't
Yeah,
even-
orange
I'll
cream.
eat that one for sure, yo.
Hashtag strawberry chocolate.
Hashtag strawberry filling. I like the cordial cherries even.
Mm,
And yes, the hair was a very bad decision.
yeah. Johnny, what did you think of? Yeah, you talked about the poisoning.
I
But,
did,
like,
and I've ranted enough for tonight.
Clarissa.
And also, I did 15 podcasts with you. I'll let these lovely people get a chance to talk, and then I'll say a bunch of stuff, and I'll keep bantering while Clarissa waits to talk, and she gives me the eyebrows. I'm like, boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. All right, go ahead.
Clarissa, what did you think about when you first watched this episode with Joffrey's death? Do you think it was coming, or did you think they were gonna do something crazy? Because I know you're not really a book person yet.
No, I'm not. I'm not very far. Like I'm still in the first book, you guys. So
That's fine. That's fine.
So I know it's been forever, but honestly, okay. Well, I guess the air date on this episode would have gone back about 5 years now.
It's it was about
2014?
2014, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think where I was in my world at that point in Game of Thrones world. Yeah, no, I was thoroughly enthralled into the series by then. I started watching the series from the time it first aired, from the first season. So when that moment came, the payoff was so incredibly satisfying. To be like, no, yes. In fact, I think I had a friend that was living with us at the time that's crazy about Game of Thrones as well. And I think we were both yelling at the TV going, yes, die.
Can I tell you something that'll make you even more happy, Joffrey died? One of the names suggested for the sword, I just noticed this in my notes. Terminus. The fuck?
Terminus?
Terminus. Like,
as in like, Terminus Station. Please depart the train.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that. Weird.
But that's just a bad name for a sword. It's good.
Yeah.
Good name for a train stop. The end of the line. But yeah, I didn't know that scene was coming. I was just like, oh God, what's gonna happen now that Marjorie's marrying him? And I was just from the beginning, I've always liked Marjorie. I mean, she's ambitious and everything, but I've always liked her. She never let her ambitions keep her from being a somewhat decent person. Even if it was for show, so what? She was making sure that hungry kids were fed in orphanages and stuff. So who cares if her heart was in it or not? She did it. So I was very excited for her. I was like, oh no, does this mean that she's going to rule without him? But then I was like, but they had, there are a lot of questions in my head as to what that meant for Marjorie's role. But I mean, that gets played out later in the show, and we see where that goes. But yeah, I have to admit, I did feel for Cersei a bit. Watching your kid die that way would be horrible. Absolutely horrible. But yeah, he was a douche, so I wasn't that sad to see him go.
So now I have a question. Who had the more painful death to watch their child go through? Was it Catelyn and watching Robb get stabbed in the heart by Roose Bolton, or is it Cersei having to watch essentially Tyrion poison Joffrey, have to die from poison by Tyrion,
or Selyse having to watch Shireen burn?
Selyse was kind of fine with that. She was like, and then afterwards, she's like emotional about it. Oh, yeah. There we go. So it's like, which mother suffers the most?
Yes, she said buyer's remorse.
Remorse. But yeah, Catelyn, I don't know. I always had mixed feelings about Catelyn, but I guess I felt
cat fight.
I guess I God, that's a really tough question. I have empathy for both of those women, as awful things as they've thought and done in their lives. You never know somebody's story until you've walked in their shoes. I think the books will probably give better insight because they are first person and you have an idea of what's going on in people's minds in the books.
Yeah, I
think based solely on screen.
From what I remember of Joffrey dying is it's the child looking at his mother while he's like suffocating, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Right, John?
Because he's terrified. You can see it. Like, oh God, that guy did such a good job.
Yeah, actually, like 4 or 5 paragraphs are actually spent on that. That on the Cersei Joffrey. If I remember correctly, it's all told from Tyrion's point of view.
Okay.
And he's watching this, but there are like 4 or 5 paragraphs. It's third person point of view watching, like, because Joffrey doesn't have any POV chapters, and Cersei doesn't until Feast for Crows. And I think it's Tyrion. It might be Sansa. It's one or the other. But it's like, 4 or 5 paragraphs are spent on Joffrey and Cersei in their like eye contact and like, I'm dying, Mom. Please save me.
Yeah, you get that same sense of helplessness.
Both of those characters, and what makes, to me, some of the brilliance of GRM, both of those characters hate Joffrey. Like, Tyrion hates Joffrey with good reason. Sansa, I can't remember if it's a Sansa chapter or a Tyrion chapter. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I read the books, but like, both of them hate him, and still you have this empathy, like, watching that. Like, yeah, he's a upstuck little bugger, but you feel, and you feel for Cersei, who you kind of hate too. I mean, unless you're on Team Cersei, which, by the way, plug Geek Chat, go check it out. Team Cersei, Team Wildfire, we're gonna win. I didn't pick this thing, but I'm gonna ride it like Moonboy.
I'm on your team, John. So
yeah, I'm on team and fuck nobody at all.
I'm on team no one.
I'm on team nothing. But this
The
is for
wall.
Peter Griffin, and a little shout out to Theon.
Did somebody order sausage?
John's dying.
Oh, dear.
Also, John, it was a Tyrion chapter that the Red Wedding is described in.
The red wedding or the purple wedding?
Purple Wedding, sorry. I just had Red Wedding on my head for a sec. But yeah, it's the Purple Wedding that it's Tyrion's chapter. And now
Right.
John's dying.
But between the two, if I'm talking about purely in the emotions of the moment, I was too busy celebrating Joffrey dying to feel too much for Cersei. I mean, I felt bad for Cersei. And when I went back and watched the episode and sort of like, you know how you sort of like, you have the initial moment when you watch a program or read a story, and then you go back and you go over it again, and you're kind of like, oh, there's this person, and there's that person, especially with like an ensemble like this. In the moment, I felt way more for Kat, definitely, because we all loved Rob, and with Joffrey dying, that was just, we were just having too much fun watching him die. It's terrible a thing to say as that is. We're having too much fun watching him die,
Yeah, true. Johnny, what do you think? Who had the worst time as a mother watching their child die? If you're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Playing with Peter Griffin.
No, it's gotta be an awful thing. You're firstborn. To Clarissa's points as well. I mean, there's nothing in the world to be able to describe it. I can't put myself in those shoes. A parent is supposed to outlive their isn't supposed to outlive their children, and it's just a horrible thing. I do feel for Cersei. I actually like Cersei. Definitely show Cersei. Book Cersei's just crazy as shit. She's a complete different beast. But show Cersei, I love her. I hate to love her and love to hate her all at the same time. But you got to admit she is one hell of a mother, or at least tries to be. And Kat kind of tries, but she neglects. She tries for one while neglecting the others. But, we'll get into the shit like that later. Because, I mean, honestly, the better cat, Cersei. And we'll get into that on Cat Fight, Cersei Lannister, which will be coming up soon to a theater near you. Sunday, or one day.
Are we gonna have Cersei versus Cat?
No, it's just
No, we're gonna have a
great.
Cat Fight, Cersei, best mom or worst mom, lover, hater type thing. Same deal. I think we'll have a more even matchup this time though.
Yeah, we won't 5 against 1. John.
I won't have to put on cat ears this time.
No, I don't think so.
Although
John,
that's fine if you do.
John, Cat or Cersei? Which, I guess, death did you feel was more for a mother from the mother's perspective to watch? Like, stabbing or poisoning? Which one's a...
As a parent, and I think I'm the only parent on this panel right now. I think poisoning would be worse to watch, like long-term repercussions. Also, mean, I've spoken quite vehemently about how I feel about Cat Tully. But she already abandoned one of her children. And she kind of abandoned Rob too. And then she let the others get shuffled off all over the place. Like, Cersei, as many flaws and faults as Cersei has, I think that uh, she's she's a mama to those kids. Like that's her one redeeming quality. That she freaked out when Tyrion actually made a good marriage arrangement for Marcella. She's like, "Oh, you're taking my baby away from me." He's like, "No, actually, I'm keeping her safe. Okay, we're in a city that's about to be in siege, and yeah, I'm keeping her safe." I have to take that emotionally and pragmatically both. Cersei's suffering was a little bit more.
Mhm.
I just don't think Cat Tully has a soul.
Yeah, it's possible. Well, in the book, she's described as having auburn hair, so practically a ginger, so they don't have souls. So, hey, if she's on my team, I guess. No. Anyway, we've reached the end of well, Tyrion's basically convicted of murder of Joffrey. That was the last point. So we've reached the end of the episode. So, what are our final thoughts of this episode, and what do we rate this episode? As I guess as well, we can go where to find us after. But go ahead. What do you rate it? What's your final thought? All that fun stuff. Anyone?
Well, I'll go ahead and just give this one a definite 9. Sansa stringy strangler. What the hell ever's. I'd say 9 out of 10. I'm not doing good on the things. Maybe Jamie's jingling junk. 9 out of 10. Jamie's jingling junk. I don't know what the hell ever. Johnny's not prepared because my internet whacked me off. Phrasing.
Say phrasing.
Sorry, I'm reading the comments.
Julianne, 10 doves baked in a pie. Dog, 9 out of 10 compared to everything else on the show. 25 out of 10 on TV. 25 out of 10. Otila Angel, 9.5 on the Rickon scale. Imaginary Realm, 9. But Imaginary Realm,
9.8.
9 out of what?
Covering finger sucks.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh,
Catherine,
Pedro Pascal's
finger
just
things.
beautiful.
Catherine, 9 out of 10. But like, what do you give it?
I give it. I'll change
Don?
it. I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10. King's Landing cod sacks.
What? What does that mean?
Kay loves all the smells.
A cod piece.
Oh, okay.
A cod sack is like the coin purse.
Oh, okay.
The cod piece, yes.
Okay, now I get it.
Yes. Where you store your family jewels.
And final thought?
1, 2, John.
Yeah. Julianne, 10 over on low cut yellow man dresses.
Nice. Very nice.
That's awesome. And that was Sasa King.
Julianne, now you're gonna make me work again. Okay, so I would give this a 9.75 because my one caveat that we talked about earlier. I do think there's some structuring issues to the episode, but I'm actually going to bump this up to a 10 because that 0.25 is gone just because there was no Danny.
Yeah, there's no Danny in this episode.
And I'm going to give this episode 10 lustful
Lustful
Laris
luchadors.
Luchador?
Ah,
Oh no, you got John.
lustful,
Lustful
lame.
Loris Martell eye looks.
Lois?
10 lustful Loris Martell looks out of 10.
Mm.
The Tyrell Martell lust.
Loris Lears, as Julianne says.
Loris Lears.
Very good.
Nice.
The dog show. It had Shay in it. -1.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I would definitely give it a. It was 10 out of 10 for. It was such a satisfying ending. So 10 out of 10 for choking douchebags. 10 out of 10 choking douchebags. There we go.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Clarissa,
Yeah.
I'm right here. Okay.
Sweltering Shay syphilis. That would be a good.
Ew.
Oh, it makes you think of that SNL Lord and Lady Douchebag. Would you like some
The very-
dressing, Lady Douchebag? Oh yes, just a little vinegar and water.
So
So funny.
I gave this episode 9.5 strangling stones in Joffrey's cup.
Ooh, nice.
So the whole necklace is in. She could have just taken the whole necklace and put it in Joffrey's cup instead.
Sorry.
It's
This
okay.
is the L's on the tapestry is for his lustful
Loris
Loris Lears.
Or lustful Lysel on the. Or Sasuke 9.8 out of 10.
Long
Valerian Steel
Leviathan.
based book murders. Oh, there you go. Valerian Steel book murders. There you go.
Leviathan lesions.
10 out of 10 uncomfortable conversations with Cersei about traveling with her brother.
10 out of 10 uncomfortable comments by Johnny B. Crazy.
10 out of 10. No Danny scenes this episode.
Well, I'm going to plug my stuff
Yes.
real quick
Yes.
and give the final thoughts that,
Mhm.
yeah, to John's point, I kind of like Danny still up until this point, but she takes a turn for the weird later. But I have a different view on Danny than most people. I see her for the great character she is and appreciate her for her faults sometimes and realize the story would be nothing without her. So suck it, John. Just kidding.
Where to find you, Johnny?
We see a little bit of brand shit and I'm happy with it. And yeah, where to find me? Johnny B. Crazy on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Johnny Bragg. Go check it out. Get in Geek Chat 1. Cylon Johns, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Nooners of Fire and Blood, Chapter 13, The Dying of the Dragons, the Blacks and the Greens. The start of the dance is happening, my friends. The Dance of Dragons. Blah, blah, hibbity, blah. That'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Come check it out with Mackenzie L. Burns, John St. Baptiste, and there's someone I am forgetting. Bran the Builder. Yes. It's because he isn't in the chat. Shame, Bran. But that's it. You'll see me on podcast with Sasuke. Also, the Quickie of
Sasuke.
Ice and Fire. Sasuke, what the hell, man? With Sasa. And also, the Quickie of Ice and Fire series, go check it out. It's going to be a weekly series every Sunday at 1 o'clock with help from Mackenzie L. Burns and John St. Baptiste. If you don't know, Mackenzie L. Burns is the awesome thumbnail maker, and Julian89 is John St. Baptiste, awesome thumbnail maker. I've already mentioned this. And I think that's it for all my shout outs. I love all of you in the chat. My friends on the panel, I am just grateful to hang out with you. Thank you so much, Mackenzie, for having me on. It is always a pleasure, and I will shut the fuck up now.
No problem at all. Having you is always a pleasure. So, whoever wants to go next, John or Clarissa, for your outro,
Go ahead, John.
your final thoughts.
John C. Baptiste. I do music more than anything. I also am the other half of the Cylon Johns, along with the much more debonair, much better sounding man who just signed off. He's a lot more charming than I am. I'm like kind of the not so charming member of the Cylon Johns. I'm kind of like a Doral model. No, I do music makes people come together. Put up videos often where the entire point of my channel is just share music with people. Also, kind people like Mackenzie invite me on their channel to just spout my random thoughts about things, and which is pretty awesome. I'm currently working on and will be releasing the playlist of my musical interpretation of season 3 for Game of Thrones, which should be out Friday. And since Julianne89 lit a match under my ass, I have to put out season 4, which should be out by the following Friday, maybe even sooner. But check it out. It's thematically based music. I try and share as much music from as diverse of concepts as I possibly can. And please, music makes people come together. That's what it's all about.
Well said. And Clarissa?
Thanks very much. Nice to see everybody. Yeah, I'm Clarissa Thompson, and you will find me on Geek Chat 1 in the comments, chit-chatting, hashtag Team No One. Yeah, Team Aria. And you can also catch me on Friday nights with John St. Baptiste, Johnny B. Crazy, Bobby Catalano, Mackenzie L. Burns, and Amy True, reviewing episodes of Battlestar Galactica. So please come out and watch us on Fridays. Yeah, and there may be some upcoming projects that we'll fill you in on when they're a little more fleshed out.
When the time is right, all will be revealed. Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. This episode it was a good one. And yeah, you can find me here on my channel. You can find me on Johnny's channel. You can find me on the Cylon Johns channel. In the comments of this already, we put out which episodes this coming week / up until next Wednesday will be out in podcast form, and next week Wednesday the live stream will be about season 4 episode 6, the Laws of God's Men, which is Tyrion's trial episode. So we're jumping from when he's convicted to his trial, all in one span of 1 week. But yes, hopefully you can join us for that. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. It was on fire tonight. So we have Otila Angel, Sasuke, some person named Johnny B. Crazy, Julianne89, The Dog Show, Septicine Secret, Linda Smith, The Imaginary Realm, Catherine Harding, Clarissa Thompson, Peter Griffin, John St. Baptiste, Almighty Coon, Bobby Catalano, Elamar was in here earlier, Ben from Drinks and Those Things / Sly the Tank Benjamin. So many people were in YouTube.
We had Luke here. We had
Drinks and Those Things. Yeah.
Imagination Realm.
Luke, please get better, because Luke's not feeling well right now.
Yeah.
So please get better.
Yeah. Fake Aria was in the chat, and I can't. Oh, here we go. Fake Aria was in the chat. OTDA, AU Pack Mule. So many people were in the chat.
Catherine
Baba
and Peter.
Husky.
What? Catherine Harding?
Catherine and Peter.
Yeah, Peter Griffin. So many lovely people had joined us today for this great conversation. If I missed you, I deeply apologize. You can call me out in the comment section.
Be hearing from Bobby.
Yeah, you'll hear Bobby. My Twitter mom will yell at me. It's yeah, she'll yell at me later. But thank you all so much for joining us today, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
If I can put there.